Chapter 933. On the second day, the sea dragons, octopuses, seashells, electric eels, and other sea demon races immediately retreated from the dozen or so human islands. They didn't kill a single person and didn't even take away a single treasure. They just returned along the way. In an instant, many of the captured humans seemed to have woken up from a dream. If it weren't for the fact that they were still tied up, they would have thought that they were dreaming. Otherwise, how could such an absurd thing happen? What exactly is going on? Why did these ferocious and evil sea demons suddenly retreat without any news at all? Someone was puzzled. In fact, this was also the question on everyone's mind. I know. It must be our ancestor. Our ancestor definitely took action. Otherwise, these sea demons wouldn't have retreated so obediently. They didn't even dare to let out a fart. That's right. If the king didn't show up personally to intimidate these sea demons and let them know the power of our human king, they wouldn't have left so obediently and didn't even dare to take a hair. Our ancestor is really powerful. As expected of a king. Even these ferocious and lawless sea demons were scared witless. Many humans were satisfied and felt honored. With the protection of a king, they felt very safe. But if those sea demons were really afraid of our ancestor, why would they come to us? There shouldn't be any other reason, right? Someone raised his doubt. Everyone was stunned and felt that it made sense. If their ancestor was really that powerful, these sea demons wouldn't have dared to invade their islands so brazenly. Could this matter be related to Xiaoping? Some people immediately thought of Xiaoping. However, someone immediately retorted, impossible. Even if this guy has 3 heads and 6 arms, he can't scare these sea demons. Could he be more terrifying than a king? Many people nodded in agreement. First of all, whether this guy had the ability or not, first of all, he was a bastard who didn't want to save them. Why would he save them? When we go back, we must definitely accuse Xiaoping, this bastard, of not saving us. He would rather sacrifice our lives than hand over the mermaid princess. He even shamelessly asked us to sacrifice our lives and become martyrs. What a despicable act. I will not live under the same sky as that bastard. A disciple of the Wang clan gnashed his teeth. He finally remembered Xiaoping. Because of this bastard, they were almost killed by those sea demons. Even in death, they would never forget this matter. Fortunately, the group of sea demons were perceptive and did not fall for Xiaoping's evil tricks. Otherwise, how could they continue to live in this world? They would have long become food in the stomachs of the sea demons. The patriarch is here. Suddenly, someone shouted. 2 or 3 spaceships appeared in the sky. They quickly flew over and landed on the ground. Following that, more than 10 kings walked out of the flying ship. They were all kings of the major clans, and were all old-timers. Patriarch. The group of people immediately went up and shed tears of gratitude. They were just about to say some words of gratitude to the old ancestor. But soon, someone exclaimed, "Fuck, why is this bitch Xiaoping here too?" His eyes widened, and he immediately discovered that Xiaoping was chatting cheerfully with the other monarchs, as if they were on very good terms. He was so scared that his eyeballs almost popped out. Fuck, this bitch Xiaoping still dares to come. I'm going to kill him right now. A burly man with a very bad temper remembered his old and new grudges, and he wanted to rush up and teach Xiaoping a lesson. But before they could rush up, the Pan family's patriarch, Panda, shouted angrily, "What the hell are you doing? You have no respect for your elders, you see Brother Xia and not greet him. What a scandal. If Brother Xia hadn't personally acted this time, you would all be dead. You can say that he is your savior. You should all come forward and thank him." His expression was very serious. What? Everyone was aggrieved, as if a toad had been stuffed into their mouths. Their faces were red, and they could barely speak. It was clearly this bastard who had almost killed them. It was because of this bastard that they had provoked so many sea demons. They were just small fish and shrimp in the pond. No matter how they looked at it, this Xia Ping was the main culprit and should be criticized. But now, he had actually become their savior, and they still had to thank him. If this was a joke, then this joke had gone too far. Hey, you're too polite. Brother Pan, there's no need to be so polite. We're all brothers of the human race, so there's no need to be so polite. Saving them was just a small effort, so there's no need to thank him or give him any precious gifts. You're too polite. Xia Ping waved his hand modestly. Gift my ass. The group of people gritted their teeth. Their old ancestor did not mention anything about giving gifts at all, but this guy was extremely thick-skinned and shamelessly brought up the matter of giving gifts. It was clear that he was afraid that others would not give gifts, so he deliberately pointed out this matter. Moreover, what did this bastard call their patriarch? Brother Pan? Panda, your uncle, is that something you can call him? It should be known that Panda was the patriarch of the Pan family, and his seniority was extremely high. Basically, everyone present was his grandson or granddaughter, but now this kid was calling their patriarch a brother, and their status was equal. In this way, weren't they all the grandsons of this shameless Xia Ping? The seniority was all messed up. How could someone take advantage of others like this? They all glared at Xia Ping fiercely. No, this isn't polite at all. Panda waved his hand repeatedly. If it weren't for Brother Xia, these little bastards would have died long ago. How could they still be so lively and full of energy? Thanks are only part of the reason. Gifts are also necessary. My Pan family will definitely prepare a big gift for Brother Xia later. His tone was very sincere. Patriarch. The descendants of the Pan family all felt very aggrieved. It was clearly this bastard's fault. He could count himself lucky not to ask for compensation, but now he had to give him a gift. How could such a thing happen in this world? That's right, Brother Xia. Money is just a worldly possession. As long as it can save so many of our descendants, money doesn't matter. This time, it was all thanks to Brother Xia. If it weren't for Brother Xia solving this problem perfectly, we wouldn't know what to do. The dozen or so kings all said to Xia Ping. Even the patriarch of the Wang family, Wang Kong, who had the greatest opinion of Xia Ping, had nothing to say. This was because Xia Ping's performance in this matter was too shocking. He easily disintegrated the allied army of sea demons and prevented the outbreak of war. At the same time, he made these sea demons retreat willingly. This performance was almost perfect. Coupled with his talent, advancing to the king realm was an ironclad matter. If there was no need, who would be willing to become enemies with such a monstrous genius? It was better to take advantage of this opportunity to quickly befriend this genius. There would be many benefits in the future. Chapter 934. The news of the retreat of the sea demon clans and the safe release of the humans on the islands had spread throughout the Cloud Realm. Almost everyone knew about it. No way. Those savage sea demons retreated just like that. They didn't ask for anything. From all the information, it seems so. They didn't ask for anything. Are you kidding me? Isn't this nonsense? Right, didn't they ask Xia Ping to release the mermaid princess? Their words were very savage and seemed like they wouldn't stop until one side was dead. Why don't they ask for her release now? I heard that Xia Ping personally forced the sea demons to retreat and forced them to sign a humiliating agreement. In the end, they gave up on rescuing the mermaid princess. Just what method did Xia Ping use? Force the sea demons to retreat. Who doesn't know how savage these sea demons are? They aren't even afraid of kings. Are they afraid of a young man like Xia Ping? No matter how I think about it, it doesn't make sense. There are too many inside stories. Many humans were in an uproar when they heard the news. Previously, the captives had been captured by the sea demons. This matter had been blown out of proportion. Many people thought that the captives would most likely die in the hands of the sea demons. But now, they had left unscathed. This was a bit anticlimactic. Even if they weren't involved, they could sense something fishy was going on. Maybe there was some kind of deal. At this time, the captives from Orchid Island had also returned to their homes. They thought they could live in peace. Who knew that trouble had just begun? News reporters from all over the world, as well as people who were extremely curious about this matter, actually boarded spaceships and headed to the islands to find out what was going on. Immediately, many of the island's residents were blocked and surrounded by the reporters. "Friend, may I ask how you felt when you were captured by the sea demons?" A reporter immediately caught a member of the Wang family and asked. "What feeling?" Was there a need to ask? It was worse than death. All kinds of memories from before their deaths flashed before their eyes. Some people were so scared that they peed themselves or fainted on the ground. There were all kinds of situations. Many members of the Wang family were speechless and didn't know how to answer. This kind of feeling was too humiliating. They were too ashamed to speak. It was a bit embarrassing for the King families. "By the way, I heard that when you were captured, you were so scared that you wet your pants and begged the sirens for mercy. Is that true?" A gossip reporter asked sinisterly. "That's not true. Where did you hear that from?" The group of Wang family descendants flatly denied it. They wanted nothing more than to bite this gossipy reporter to death. If he really admitted it, wouldn't he be embarrassing himself in front of the entire nation? "We got the information from an insider. As for who it is, it's not convenient for us to tell you." The gossip reporter's eyes flickered, as if he didn't want to reveal the identity of this insider. Bullshit internal personnel, was it Xia Ping, that bitch, who said it? The faces of the Wang family juniors all turned green. Xia Ping's face instinctively appeared in their minds, and they all unanimously felt that it was this bastard who told the news to these reporters. Otherwise, how could he say it so clearly and in such detail? Moreover, he specifically pointed out the ugly side of them, causing them a serious blow both physically and mentally. However, thinking about it carefully, their ancestor was currently in the honeymoon period with this bastard Xia Ping. No matter how shameless that bastard was, he probably wouldn't expose them at this time. Although they didn't know if this so-called insider was fabricated by this gossip reporter, it didn't stop them from denying it. They directly said, "Although I don't know where you got this useless information from, we were ultimately heroes facing those evil and cruel sirens until the very last moment. You can know from the result. Those sirens fled with their tails between their legs, and we were released safely. As for the process, you can imagine it yourself." They constantly maintained their righteous side, and would never admit that they had begged the sirens for mercy. "My friend, how did you manage to escape and come back?" "That's right. So many ferocious sirens came to kidnap you, but now they retreated with their tails between their legs. They didn't do anything." "What's the inside story? Did you make some kind of secret deal with the sea demons? That's why the sea demons retreated? Did you sign some kind of treaty that betrayed your country for glory?" Many reporters bombarded them with questions like a machine gun, overwhelming them. No comment. No comment on this matter. The group of Wang family descendants kept their mouths shut. They couldn't say a single word about the inside story. Otherwise, they would lose all the face of their king families. At this moment, in the villa on the giant island, Mermaid Princess Yuchichi was also watching the television in the living room. The television was showing the scene of the reporter interviewing the people on the island. She had also heard the news of the sirens retreating. The originally majestic army of sirens was now all bark and no bite. They retreated one by one, and no one cared about her, who was in the center of the storm. Damn it! What did this human do? Why did they all run away? Yuchichi gritted her teeth, feeling extremely indignant. If even this couldn't save her, did her father have to personally make a move? If even her father couldn't save her, then she would have to work like a slave for this human for the rest of her life. She suddenly felt that her future was dark. The most unlucky thing in her life was probably meeting this despicable, shameless human in the Shark Demon King's palace. Su Ji and Jiang Yaru also saw this news. They were speechless and in awe. Originally, they thought that Xia Ping would definitely be in trouble this time. They didn't expect that this matter would end so angrily. Although they didn't know what happened, they could imagine that Xia Ping must have played a big role in it. Otherwise, how could these ferocious sirens retreat just like that? At this time, Xia Ping didn't care about anything else. He came to the huge warehouse of the villa. The materials he bought from the giant company for the spaceship were all moved here. They almost filled up the warehouse. From afar, it looked like a small mountain. And this was only a part of it. There were still many more materials that would be moved here. Chapter 935. Don't worry, it's enough. Corinne's virtual projection jumped out and landed on Xia Ping's shoulder. This is just the initial modification material for the spaceship. It's already enough to meet the requirements. By the way, I also modified the internal AI program of the batch of nano-engineered robots I asked you to buy. The efficiency has been increased by about 10,000 times, and they can have simple human intelligence. I've inputted the engineering drawings of the spaceship into their chips. Then these nano-engineered robots will automatically modify the spaceship, transport materials, and do assembly line work. Even if I'm not here, they will work diligently like worker ants. 3 months, it should be done in about 3 months. It held up 3 fingers. At this moment, the moon god was lying quietly in the warehouse. Countless nanoscale engineering robots were crawling around it. They were like ants, densely packed together. Some were disassembling and transporting materials. Some were welding and adjusting the electric circuit. Some were decorating the spaceship's interior. Although it looked very messy, in fact, they were very organized, completely following the design drawings. This was already precise to the nano level. This was simply a futuristic project. It was extremely sci-fi. Amazing. Xia Ping was full of admiration. As expected of a brain that had surpassed the cloud realm by many years. Just the technology used to modify these nano-engineered robots was already far beyond the reach of humans. Instilling some engineering knowledge into these nano-engineered robots was equivalent to creating a human engineer in an instant. And these nanorobots numbered in the tens of thousands, which was equivalent to having tens of thousands of elite human engineers. This saved a lot of manpower and material resources. Next, they didn't need to do anything. It was enough for these nano-engineered robots to work. Moreover, these robots could work 24 hours a day as long as they had energy. They didn't need to rest at all. Their efficiency had increased by who knew how many times. If such intelligent nano-engineered robots were taken out, it would probably revolutionize the entire human society. Science and technology would undergo earth-shaking changes. Of course. Don't you know who I am? This is as easy as flipping my hand. Corinne was very proud with his hands on his hips. Finally, there was something he could do in front of this demon. Previously, he was so shocked by this demon that he even doubted his cat life. With this spaceship, although we can't travel through a galaxy, we can travel through the nearby planets. We can go to the planets near the cloud realm to take a look. This will greatly broaden our horizons. Xia Ping clenched his fists. Going to other planets and exploring unknown environments was simply one of the ultimate dreams of mankind. Moreover, the universe was extremely vast and boundless. There were many peculiar planets, and every single one of them had innumerable treasures. They were like unexplored treasures waiting for Xia Ping to explore. If he was able to obtain even more treasures, then his chances of breaking through into the King realm would be even greater. DD. At this time, the system's voice also came out, congratulations to the host, you have angered a large number of Siren Grandmasters. This time, you have gained a total of 50 million hatred points. I hope the host will continue to work hard. 50 million hate points. Xia Ping curled his lips. He didn't think it was too little. After all, he had only offended some grandmasters this time. There was a limit to the amount of hatred he could get. It was still a little far from the king realm. But even so, coupled with the previous hatred value, he had a total of 630 million hatred value. After a period of time, he estimated that he would have 1 billion hatred value. At that time, he would be able to get another big gift bag from the system, but he didn't know what the next big gift bag would be. This made Xia Ping very much look forward to it. Whoosh! As soon as the system's voice ended, the communicator on his body immediately rang. With a snap, Xia Ping turned on his communicator, and a virtual projection appeared in front of him. Immediately, the figure that appeared in front of him was the King Zhao Zhong, the big shot of the giant company. Xia Ping. The King Zhao Zhong looked at Xia Ping with a kind face, like an old man looking at his grandson, very kind. Elder Zhao. Xia Ping spoke very respectfully. He knew that this old man was very good to him and was a senior worthy of respect. He was such a person. If people respected him, he would respect them tenfold. This time, I have a big matter to look for you. Zhao Zhong smiled slightly. A big matter? Xia Ping was stunned. He didn't ask and just looked at Zhao Zhong. Zhao Zhong didn't seem to have any intention of letting Xia Ping answer, nor did he intend to keep him in suspense. He said directly, I'll just say it directly. The leader of the giant company has come to see you. What? Hearing this, Xia Ping was shocked and looked at Zhao Zhong in shock. Although Zhao Zhong's tone was very calm, this sentence was earth-shattering. The leader of the giant company, Gu Shi, had come. What kind of existence was that? The other party was an old monster who had survived from the great era of mankind until today. He had long been promoted to the realm of the invincible king. He was a legend who had lived for more than 1,000 years and had experienced several wars of life and death for mankind. If it weren't for the existence of this old man, it was unknown how many human beings would have died. In the textbooks of Yanhuang Star, in many historical books, and even on TV, the figure of this invincible king had appeared. This was a big shot whose influence affected all aspects of human society. It could be said that if such a person sneezed, the entire cloud realm would catch a cold for 3 days. Not to mention that the other party was the leader of the giant company, a super big shot who controlled one of the 3 superpowers of the human world. Generally speaking, ordinary people were not qualified to see him at all. Even grandmasters were not qualified. Only the king could barely meet him, and even if they wanted to meet, it would depend on the other party's mood. What the hell is going on? Since he was about to meet such a big shot, even if Xia Ping didn't care, he had to ask what was going on. After all, such a big shot would not meet him for no reason. Anyone would feel a little excited to meet a legend from the textbooks. This is actually a gathering. The 3 giants of the 3 major human organizations will meet, Zhao Zhong said in a deep voice. At that time, the leader of the Aurora Corporation, Sun Yangdao, and the leader of the Life Corporation, Lu Wuming, will also attend. Many elite human grandmasters will also appear. His eyes flickered, indicating that this matter was extremely important. 3 giants? Xia Ping was speechless. These 3 super organizations covered all aspects of human society, controlling all aspects of human politics, economy, and military. And the meeting of these 3 super organizations was no less than the meeting of the leaders of the 3 super countries on Earth in his previous life. This could affect the lifeline of the entire planet. Remember, at such a gathering, don't cause trouble. You must keep a low profile, Zhao Zhong warned. Xia Ping patted his chest. Don't worry. Don't you know who I am? I am the most low-key person. All of them watched curiously from afar. Look, isn't that the champion of the genius battle, Xia Ping? Some people also saw Xia Ping in the team. Oh my god, it really is that troublemaker. I didn't expect to see him alive today. Hurry, 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 hurry up and take a picture. I knew I was lucky today. He is going to be one of the major characters in the future. He has already reached the Grandmaster realm at such a young age. In the future, he might even become an invincible king. He has already been listed as one of the important people that the giant company is nurturing. The group of people also quickly noticed Xia Ping's existence because Xia Ping was really too famous and high-profile. Basically, all the major events that happened in the past year were related to this guy. On the internet, Xia Ping's name was a hot topic, and he was even more famous than many human kings. Although he hadn't reached the level where everyone knew him, he had become a superstar. People would point at him whenever he went out. If it weren't for Xia Ping's notoriety, people might have asked for his autograph and many female fans. What? Hearing this, not only many tourists were in a commotion, but even some grandmasters and kings in the team couldn't help but turn their heads to look. Because this year, Xia Ping had been in the limelight too much and had done a lot of big things. Not to mention the fact that he had auctioned the Demon King's descendant, just the fact that he had kidnapped the mermaid princess and angered the sea monsters. The allied forces had come to kill him, but in the end, he was still safe and sound. This was enough to make countless grandmasters and kings look at him and attract a lot of attention. Just causing trouble was not a big deal. Everyone could do it. The problem was that after causing trouble, nothing happened to him, and he even got great benefits. This was not something that everyone could do. TSK, is this the champion of the genius battle, Xia Ping? He's really powerful. His heavenly court is full, and his gang chi is full. He must have reached the sixth sky of the supreme power realm. My god, this kid is only 19 years old. He's so abnormal. When we were his age, we were probably in the martial mentor realm, but he is already a grandmaster and can compete with the older generation. He's really a monster. I can't compare with him. But is he also coming to this meeting? Isn't it a little too early? Indeed, even if he is now in the sixth sky of the supreme power realm, he is only 19 years old. He's too young. I guess some kings want to train him, so they let him come out to see the world. He might not want to do anything. The eyes of many masters and kings twinkled as they looked at Xia Ping with complicated expressions. Some people sighed with emotion. Compared with this kid, they had been living like dogs all these years. The gap was too big. People really couldn't be compared with each other. It was really annoying. However, in the distance, there was also a group of people standing next to them, looking at Xia Ping and the others with a faint smile. A man in black crossed his arms and said lightly, "Wu Quan, this kid is really popular. He has been in the limelight this year and is even called the future invincible king. What do you think?" The aura on his body was very powerful. It seemed that there was a faint dark aura around him, as if it had formed a unique aura. Once someone approached him, they would immediately feel very uncomfortable and disgusted. This man's cultivation had reached the peak of the ninth sky of the supreme power realm, only one step away from the king realm. Humph, he's just playing to the gallery. How can it be so easy to become an invincible king? The young man named Wu Quan sneered and said, not to mention the invincible king, even the king realm has stopped countless geniuses. Now this kid is amazing, but who knows if he will be stuck at the peak of the supreme power realm for many years. In the past, we were also promoted to the ninth sky of the supreme power realm. We thought that we could break through soon, but in the blink of an eye, 5 or 6 years have passed, and we still haven't been able to break through. I remember a few years ago, we were also called monsters. Lu Shan, you think too highly of him. Chapter 937. Indeed. Lu Shan also nodded. The king realm is as difficult as ascending to heaven. If it wasn't difficult, countless geniuses wouldn't have been trapped for so many years, and there are so few king realm masters in the entire cloud realm. If we were to say who are the true geniuses among our peers, the undoubted monstrous geniuses, it would probably be Su Mei and Qiu. They have easily broken through the king realm and have already surpassed us. I thought I could surpass them this time, but I didn't expect to fail. He laughed at himself. Wu Quan had nothing to say. These two women were indeed amazing geniuses of their generation. They seemed to have no bottlenecks and easily broke through to the king realm. They had been stuck at the peak of the Grandmaster realm for so many years, so they all knew how difficult it was to break through to the king realm. The more difficult it was, the more amazing these two stunning women were. But I have to say that this kid is amazing. The black-clothed man, Lu Shan, smiled slightly. Let's not talk about his martial arts cultivation, just his luck alone is not something we can compare with. Our generation's two goddesses, Su Mei and Qiu, were both taken by this kid, and they are even willing to share a husband. I really envy others. Shut up. Hearing this, a man in gray next to Lu Shan stared at him and said coldly, "These are just rumors circulating on the internet. There is no evidence. Who can be sure that this is true? How can you believe such a baseless rumor? LV Shan, you're getting worse and worse." His eyes were bloodshot, and he seemed to be very angry. Ren Haodan, I know you like Qiu, but you can't ignore the facts. Lu Shan didn't care at all and still had a smile on his face. As the saying goes, there is no smoke without fire. How do you know that this is not true? If it is false, why didn't Qiu come out to refute it and let these rumors spread? I think that even if it is somewhat false, it is also somewhat true. Sometimes, when it comes to rumors, they'll become true as time goes on. He didn't care about the anger of the man in gray, Ren Haodan, and said these words to himself. Lu Shan, if you want to provoke me, I can tell you that you have succeeded. Do you want to fight with me? I, Ren Haodan, will accompany you to the end. Ren Haodan clenched her fists. Lu Shan waved his hand. Don't cause trouble in front of the king, or we'll have to bear the consequences. Since you don't want to hear it, then I won't say it. Why get angry? But then again, there are a lot of people in our generation who like the two goddesses, Qiu and Su Mei. This kid actually picked the two flowers of the plateau and brought them home. I don't know how much hatred he will cause. He rubbed his chin with a cold expression on his face. Humph. Ren Haodan snorted coldly. He didn't say anything, but his face darkened. His gaze fell on Xia Ping, who was walking over from afar. No one knew what he was thinking. Wu Quan was silent as he looked at Xia Ping in the distance. For a moment, the group fell into silence. At this moment, Xia Ping followed the kings of the giant company and exited the flying shuttle. When he arrived at the airport, he instantly heard the commotion in the surroundings and countless gazes were directed at him. It seemed that even on Flaming Huang Island, he was very famous. Many people knew who he was. Elder Zhao. Xia Ping said proudly, I didn't think that I would be recognized even though I'm so low-key. It seems that I'm actually a man who can't keep a low profile. No matter where I go, I'm like a firefly in the dark. I'm so bright and eye-catching. I'm like a red dot in a green forest. He felt that being a celebrity was very tiring. There were people everywhere discussing, taking photos, shaking hands, and signing autographs. There might even be a bunch of beautiful female fans waiting for him to work day and night and do all kinds of unspoken rules. Tonight's nightlife might be very rich. Zhao Zhong was speechless. He felt that Xia Ping's skin was so thick that even an old man like him, who was hundreds of years old, couldn't take it. The other kings and grandmasters of the giant company all looked at Xia Ping with disdain. If this guy did less immoral things, it was guaranteed that he wouldn't be recognized. Moreover, there were no female fans around at all. This bastard still wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to do unspoken rules and fuck fun for free. He was simply daydreaming. Alright, stop talking nonsense. Let's hurry up and go to the Flaming Huang base. The leader is waiting for us. Zhao Zhong didn't want to hear this guy brag and directly ordered them to leave. Whoosh! The group of people left the airport. There were already a few hover cars waiting for them, picking up the grandmasters and kings. An hour later, Xia Ping's group arrived at the largest base of Flaming Huang Island, the Flaming Huang base. It wasn't just Xia Ping's group. This time, many kings and grandmasters who had arrived at Flaming Huang Island were also heading to the Flaming Huang base. The group of people headed there in a grandiose manner. You guys are here. Just as Xia Ping and the others arrived at an empty space in the Flaming Huang base, they immediately heard a gentle voice. However, this voice contained a terrifying spiritual wave. It was transmitted directly to everyone's mind. Even if they covered their ears, they couldn't block it out. Everyone looked over and saw 3 figures standing in the middle of the empty space in the base. One was a middle-aged man who was 1.8 meters tall, wearing black trousers and a black jacket. His entire body was pitch black. At first glance, it wasn't a person, but a black shadow. He stood on the ground, and the entire sky seemed to distort. The sun in the sky and endless sunlight were immediately blocked, as if the entire world had turned into darkness. This middle-aged man was the center of this world of darkness, devouring the endless light. The second figure was a handsome man. He looked incomparably elegant, as if he was a mythical character from the fairy race. He stood on the ground and seemed to emit white light automatically. He was like a sun standing on the ground, filling the surroundings with dazzling light. The people around him couldn't open their eyes, and they couldn't see his appearance clearly. If this middle-aged man was the god of darkness, then this handsome man was the god of light. The third figure was an old man wearing green clothes. His feet stood on the ground like the roots of an old tree, deeply rooted in the ground, absorbing the endless life force of the earth. He didn't seem like a human, but a tree of life standing on the ground. He had a majestic life force, and he emitted an ancient, vast aura that was incomparably vicissitude. Facing these 3 figures, no one present could muster up the will to resist. It seemed that as long as they willed it, they could instantly end their lives. Ordinary kings were no exception. Everyone had the same thought. These were invincible kings. Chapter 938. Invincible King. Divine Realm. At this moment, Xia Ping truly felt how terrifying this level was. When dealing with a Guru Realm cultivator, he could probably kill him with a single thought. There were 3 levels to King Realm: Purple Mansion, Fulfillment, and Divine Realm. The difference between each level was like heaven and earth, especially the Divine Realm, which was extremely different from the Fulfillment Realm. Even in the boundless universe, the Divine Realm was considered an expert with combat strength. In a remote and desolate place like the Cloud Realm, he would be an invincible existence, and no one would be able to contend against him. Not bad at all. The middle-aged man in black nodded. The talents of this generation are quite good. There are still some good seedlings. I hope everyone will work hard. You should know that the King Realm is only the beginning, not the end. He glanced at everyone around. Everyone present felt a mountain-like pressure crushing down on them. They almost couldn't breathe. This was the pressure of an invincible king. Ordinary people couldn't resist it at all. Alright, old man. The handsome man smiled like a spring breeze. Don't bully the juniors here. That's enough. Oh, we forgot to introduce ourselves. I'm Sun Yangdao. This old man in black is old 70, and this old man in green is Lu Wuming. He pointed at the 2 people next to him. What? Everyone was shocked. Lu Wuming, Sun Yangdao, these 3 names were not just heard of, they were like thunder piercing their ears, the kind that everyone knew of. They were the leaders of Life Corporation, Giant Corporation, and Aurora Corporation, the three super-organizations that ruled this world. They were the true leaders. Normally, they would be cultivating in seclusion to increase their cultivation. They would not come out easily. Even some kings hadn't seen the three leaders in person. They didn't expect to see them here today. I think you all find it strange too. Why have you been summoned here at this time? Lu Wuming stood with his hands behind his back and looked at everyone. The reason is simple. It's because the Demon King path has opened. Many geniuses have entered this trial. Once they pass this trial, they will definitely become Demon Kings. This is no small matter. He said that the path of the Monster King was a training ground passed down from ancient times in the Thousand Monster Mountain. There were endless mysteries inside, and it contained the secret of becoming a Monster King. Once the training was successful, one would definitely become a Monster King. If these demons were to pass the trial and become Demon Kings, they would definitely pose a great threat to humanity. The eyes of many martial artists flickered. They were extremely shocked. They did not think that the Wanya Mountain would have such a secret place. Some people that had been stuck at the peak of the Grandmaster realm for a very long time were extremely tempted. If they were able to enter such a training ground, then they might be able to seize this opportunity to advance into the King realm. Lu Wuming also saw the Grandmaster's desire and smiled. I believe some of you have also received the news. This time, we will also find a way to enter the Fiend Race's trial grounds and get a share of the spoils. This is the reason why I've gathered all of you here. Lu Wuming's words wouldn't have been much before, but Lu Wuming's words had truly shocked and excited many human grandmasters. Immediately, someone could not help but ask, Leader, is this true or not? Lu Wuming nodded. Of course it's true. We are not joking. He indicated that although the entrance to the path of the Fiend Race's secret trial grounds was in the Wanya Mountain, the entrance to the secret trial grounds was not only in the Wanya Mountain. After all, the Fiend Race was a race that dominated the entire Cloud Realm. Their ruins could be found in every corner of the Cloud Realm. At the same time, the entrances to the path of the Fiend Race were scattered all over the Cloud Realm. One of them was in the human territory and had always been well protected by the army. It was classified as a top secret and not many people knew about it. Before the path of the Fiend Race opened, this entrance was useless. However, now that the main entrance to the path of the Fiend Race had opened, they could also take this opportunity to enter through this remote entrance and get a share of the spoils of the Fiend Race. Although we can enter the path of the Fiend Race's secret trial grounds, let me tell you first that this secret trial grounds is extremely dangerous. It can be said that there is only a slim chance of survival, Lu Wuming said solemnly. There is no exit on this path. According to the Fiend Race's ancient records, if you are unable to advance to the Fiend King realm in this secret trial grounds, then you will die here and never be able to come out. In other words, if you don't become a Fiend King, you will die. He looked around and pointed out the seriousness of this matter. A slim chance of survival? This is indeed a dangerous secret trial grounds. If it wasn't for this kind of secret ground, you probably wouldn't be able to become a Fiend King. Don't worry, Chief. We have experienced all kinds of dangers. This is nothing. In order to advance to the Fiend King realm, we are already prepared to die. Many grandmasters clenched their fists. Some of them had been stuck at this bottleneck for decades or even centuries. This period of time was simply too long. It was almost the lifetime of an ordinary human. If this continued, they would not be able to advance to the Fiend King realm and would be stuck at this bottleneck for the rest of their lives. To them, who were determined to reach the peak of martial arts, this was simply torture. Now that they had a chance to escape this torture, they would not hesitate to sacrifice their lives. The path of the Fiend Race? Xia Ping was extremely tempted as well. Perhaps he would have to spend a very long time to advance into the King realm if he followed the prescribed order. However, he might be able to greatly shorten the time he had to cultivate and allow him to break through if he entered this secret realm. As for the dangers in the trial grounds, he did not care about them at all. No matter how dangerous it was, many monsters had succeeded and advanced to the Fiend King realm. This meant that it was not a slim chance of survival, and there was still a high chance of success. He had many trump cards to save his life. If even he could not succeed, Xia Ping could not imagine who else could pass this trial. He had to participate in this trial as well. Alright, since that's the case, you can set off tomorrow. Lu Wuming was very satisfied. Wait, Chief. Suddenly, someone stood out and said to Lu Wuming. Do you have any questions? Lu Wuming looked at this person. Chief, my name is Ren Haodan. Ren Haodan introduced himself and then said, all the Grandmasters are seniors, and all of them have reached the peak of the Grandmaster realm. Of course, I have no objections to them participating in this trial. But there was a rat poop mixed in with this group of elites, and it almost spoiled the pot of soup. I'm not very satisfied with this matter. Chapter 939. Whoosh! 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 Immediately, many people's eyes focused on Xia Ping. Obviously, they all knew that Ren Haodan was targeting Xia Ping. Why aren't you satisfied? Lu Wuming asked. Ren Haodan said in a deep voice, Leader, with all due respect, the number of people participating in this trial must be carefully selected and controlled. It's impossible to enter without restrictions. That's right. Lu Wuming nodded. In this way, many outstanding Grand Masters will fail to be selected and will not be able to get this opportunity. En Haodan said coldly, if the Grand Masters who enter this secret land trial are excellent enough and above everyone else, then those who fail will naturally have nothing to say. However, if the people who go in for the trial are of average strength, they will only be a burden and will die. Will the Grand Masters who fail to be selected be satisfied? Will they be satisfied? If we had known that the people who enter would die, it would have been better to leave this place for more outstanding people. This is my idea. I hope the leader can consider it. Everyone's faces were very strange. They knew that Ren Haodan was targeting Xia Ping. She almost pointed at Xia Ping's nose and said that this kid was weak and not qualified to participate in this trial. Although Xia Ping's aptitude was indeed amazing, he was still at the 6th level of Supreme Power Realm. Compared with many Grand Master peak cultivators, there was still a certain gap. If this young man was given a little more time, he might be able to catch up quickly. The problem was that the trial was about to begin. There was no time for that. Zhao Zhong and the others looked very gloomy. They all felt that Ren Haodan was a little disrespectful. If he had any opinions, he could have put them forward in private, which would be good for everyone. However, this kid just had to put it forward at this time in front of the invincible king. This was clearly a slap in Xia Ping's face. He wanted to use the power of the invincible king to eliminate this competitor. He wanted to kill with a borrowed knife. If you have anything to say, just say it. Don't hesitate here like a girl. Xia Ping said lazily, you mean that my strength is a hindrance and I'm not qualified to enter this trial at all, right? He looked at Ren Haodan indifferently. At least you have some self-awareness. That's a pretty good point. Ren Haodan sneered. Boom, in the blink of an eye, Xia Ping took a step forward. Like a rock, he soared through the air, and with lightning speed, he crossed the distance of several hundred meters to arrive in front of Ren Haodan. Immediately, he punched, shook, and exploded. What? Ren Haodan was shocked. He didn't expect this brat to be so arrogant. In front of so many kings and even invincible kings, he dared to attack him and launch a sneak attack. Moreover, this kid's speed was simply too fast. The speed of his punches was like lightning, so fast that the speed of his nerves could not even react. He only had time to raise his hands and circulate the stellar energy in his body to block Xia Ping's punch. Dong! The punch landed squarely on Ren Haodan's arms. Like a raging bull beating a drum, a booming sound rang out. The air exploded and shattered inch by inch. The power poured down like a flood, unstoppable. He stood on the ground and tried to resist it, but he couldn't bear this kind of huge force. His whole body kept falling back. Just like that, he was forced back dozens of meters. His feet left 2 deep grooves in the ground. The tyrannical force shook his arms until they were numb, and his whole body was trembling. The surrounding Supreme Masters all dodged to avoid the aftermath of the power. They immediately made an open space. The Supreme Masters glanced at Gu Shilai, Sun Yangdao, and Lu Wuming. It seemed that the 3 invincible kings had no intention of making a move. They didn't even ask the 2 of them to stop. They just watched with interest. These Supreme Masters also couldn't figure out the intention of the invincible kings, so they all remained silent and waited to see what would happen. You! Ren Haodan was shocked and angry. He glared at Xia Ping. He felt that he was about to vomit blood after taking this blow. His lungs seemed to have been seriously injured. Obviously, this guy's cultivation was only at the 6th level of the Supreme Power Realm, but his power was comparable to the peak of the 9th level of the Supreme Power Realm. There was even a terrible spiral force that penetrated his lungs and produced extreme destructive power. Even though he ran the protective Gang Qi on his body, he couldn't resist it at all. Dong! Xia Ping didn't even look at it. He didn't even pay attention to Ren Haodan's words. He directly kicked at him. It was like a wild elephant's attack. The elephant raised its hoof, which contained a power several times more terrifying than before. Immediately, there was a shrill sound of something breaking through the air, which frightened countless Supreme Masters. Oh no! Ren Haodan's face was pale. Just a punch had made him retreat dozens of meters. His hands were numb and his lungs were injured. Now he was kicked by his opponent. It was terrible. The problem was that the brat was too close to him. His flying kick was like a bolt of lightning, leaving only an afterimage of the kick in the air. He couldn't resist such a fast speed and such a short distance. The next second, the foot accurately kicked on his chest. The tip of the foot contained the strong force of Gang Qi, the spiral force, and the terrible destructive power. Ah! Ren Haodan let out a shrill scream. This time, he could no longer resist. His protective Gang Qi was broken in an instant, and his whole body flew backward for hundreds of meters. With a bang, he was sent flying into the wall of the base, forcibly smashing out a human-shaped hole. Rocks flowed down from these marks. With a puff, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale. Keep shouting. Try shouting. Xia Ping condescendingly looked down at Ren Haodan. You dare to be arrogant in front of me with just this bit of strength? You even said that I'm weak, that I'm just a burden. How dare you say that? Although he didn't know why Ren Haodan suddenly targeted him, he didn't mind trampling such a bird to death to warn others. Otherwise, if idiots like him kept jumping out, he was afraid that it would cause him a lot of trouble. You! In front of so many Supreme Masters, and even invincible Supreme Masters, Ren Haodan was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were red, and he wanted to eat Xia Ping. You what? Are you very dissatisfied? Do you want to fight again? Now I can let you use both my hands and feet. Xia Ping sneered, not giving this guy any face at all. Chapter 940. Seeing Xia Ping's appearance, Zhao Zhong had a headache. He had asked this kid to keep a low profile in front of the invincible king. Now, they had just met, and he had already started a fight. He even beat up a Supreme Master. Previously, this guy had said that he would keep a low profile. What the fuck? No matter how he looked at it, he did not look like he was keeping a low profile. Was there no such thing as keeping a low profile in his life? Zhao Zhong wanted to drag this bastard back. He did not know what the leader would think of such a rude behavior. If the leader was angry, it would be no small matter. He felt a strong sense of uneasiness. Staying with Xia Ping, a bomb that could explode at any time, was too insecure. This kid is very strong. Many supreme masters stared at Xia Ping. This young man's reputation was like the shadow of a tree. Everyone present had more or less heard about this young man, but they had only heard about him. They had never seen his true abilities. In this world, there were many people who did not live up to their reputation. They thought that this young man was one of them. However, when they saw Xia Ping beat Ren Haodan, who was at the peak of the supreme power 9th realm, in just a few moves, they knew that this young man was extraordinary. Even though he was only at the supreme power 6th realm, his strength was no less than that of an ordinary supreme power 9th realm. Some people said that this was a sneak attack, which was why it had such an effect. However, when one reached the supreme power realm, he had already reached the realm of sensing the autumn wind before it moved. A mere sneak attack could not do anything to a supreme power realm master. If one had the ability to sneak attack a supreme power realm master, he would also have the ability to kill a supreme power realm master in a head-on fight. This was strength, not something that could be falsified. This was the way of martial artists. Whether one had the ability or not, they only needed to fight. How can he be so strong? Wu Quan and LV Shan's pupils also shrank. They were both shocked. They did not expect that Ren Haodan would be beaten to the ground by this young man in just a few moves. This was completely different from what they had imagined. Originally, they wanted to take this opportunity to humiliate this guy. They did not expect that it would backfire. Instead, Ren Haodan was humiliated and became a laughing stock. What kind of move is this? Many of the king tiers wanted to go even further. They were at a higher cultivation level, and they could completely sense the mysterious power contained within Xia Ping's moves. It was clearly an ordinary power, but when this young man used it, it was several times more destructive. Even the protective astral energy was unable to withstand it. Even with their king realm, they could not see through the mysteries within. They could only instinctively feel that this might be a martial art that surpassed the king realm. It was extraordinary. Not bad, this young man is not bad. Gu Shilai smiled and looked at Xia Ping with admiration. As expected of someone from the giant company, he was indeed very capable. What a powerful soul power. He is indeed a seedling of a king. Sun Yangdao's body emitted a strange fluctuation, as if he had sensed a secret on Xia Ping's body. Ren Haodan, do you have any objections now? Lu Wuming asked as he looked at Ren Haodan. Me. Ren Haodan gritted his teeth and struggled to get up from the wall. Because he had the physique of an elite adept, it was not so easy for him to suffer injuries that he could not get up from. Hence, he still had strength. He glared at Xia Ping fiercely. He wanted to recover from his injuries and fight with this brat again. But when he recalled this brat's exquisite fist technique and unstoppable power, he felt a chill. He instinctively felt that even if they fought again openly, he most likely would not be this brat's match. If he lost again, he would be asking to be humiliated. I have no objections. En Haodan lowered his head and clenched his fists. His nails dug into his flesh, causing a trace of blood to flow out. Evidently, he felt extremely unwilling to be so useless. But before this, he also did not know that this young man was so powerful. Then, does anyone have any objections to Xia Ping joining this trial? Lu Wuming looked around at the elite adepts around him. No one could tell what he was thinking, and he seemed to have a fair and just attitude. If you have any objections, feel free to speak. I'm a very modest person and will humbly accept your opinions, Xia Ping said humbly, indicating that he was someone who could listen to others' opinions. Bullshit. Many of the evolved Jing masters looked at Xia Ping with disdain. If Xia Ping was really a humble and open-minded person, how could he have attacked Ren Haodan just because of a disagreement? He showed no mercy and beat Renhaudan to the ground with a few punches and kicks. If it was not for Renhaudan's powerful strength, that attack would probably have him lying in the hospital for at least half a year. No matter how they looked at it, this bastard was a vengeful bastard. They were probably waiting to see who would jump out and cause trouble. This guy was probably waiting to take revenge. No, we have no objections. According to Brother Xia's battle prowess, joining this trial is a matter of course. That's right. If he can even defeat Renhaudan, then there is no doubt that he is qualified. Yes, we all agree. Many of the elite adepts did not have any objections. Just now, Xia Ping had defeated Renhaudan in just a few moves, which could be considered to have completely shocked all the elite adepts present. None of them dared to say anything anymore. Wu Quan and Lu Shan were also silent. Before seeing through Xia Ping's strength, they did not want to be the first to stand out and embarrass themselves like Renhaudan in front of so many elite adepts and kings. Alright, since no one has any objections, then Xia Ping will join the team for this trial. Lu Wuming stood with his hands behind his back. The trial will start tomorrow morning. You guys get ready. He waved his hand and let the elite adepts leave. Everyone, please follow me. We have prepared rooms for you to rest in the base. A group of soldiers came up and pointed out the path for Xia Ping and the rest. Following this, Xia Ping and the rest quickly left this empty space and went to the resting room of the Yanhuang base to rest. At this moment, many human kings and invincible kings had come to a conference room in the Yanhuang base. The surroundings were sealed, so no one could get any information from this conference room. The master trial was just the appetizer. The gathering of these kings was the real main course. Leader, may I know why you have asked us to gather together? Zhao Zhong and the other kings all knew that if it was just about the trial, the leader would not easily come out of seclusion, nor would he ask so many human kings to gather together. Something big must have happened to cause an invincible king to come out of seclusion and gather countless human kings to discuss this matter. Chapter 941. What? Hearing this, the kings present were shocked. They never thought that such news would come from the mouth of an invincible king. It was too shocking. Leader Gu, is this true? A king looked at Gu Shilai in shock, a little unable to believe his ears. It's true. It has been confirmed. Gu Shilai's face was very solemn. According to the speed of that spaceship, it should be able to reach the sky realm after a while. So far, we don't know whether they are enemies or friends. Why did they come? A spaceship? Many kings were silent. At their level, as the leaders of the human race, they naturally knew a lot of information that ordinary people did not know, including the existence of humans on other planets. In fact, for planet Yanhuang, the sky realm was actually an alien existence. It was just that they had been operating in this place for hundreds of years and had already regarded it as their own territory. In fact, with the development of technology, sooner or later, they would come into contact with aliens, but they did not expect it to be so fast and so unexpected. The more they understood the universe, the more they panicked about it. A planet like planet Yanhuang was actually just a low-level planet in the universe. In the eyes of advanced civilizations, it was just a native, an ant that could be wiped out with a wave of a hand. Even if the invincible kings seemed to be invincible in the sky realm, in the eyes of the alien experts, they were probably not worth mentioning. Once they encountered them, it would be a disaster for the humans of planet Yanhuang. Compared with the threat of Wanya Mountain, the threat of aliens was the most terrible and the most impossible to resist. Leader, what should we do now? Many kings were panicking as they looked at the three invincible kings. Right now, only experts like these could become their backbone. No matter what else they had, it could not give them enough security. Everyone, don't worry too much. Gu Shilai said in a deep voice, first of all, there is only one such spaceship. It did not come in a group. I guess it is not to invade the sky realm. In this case, we may not necessarily have an armed conflict with the aliens. Secondly, the sky realm has a unique suppression of the heaven and earth rules. Cultivators higher than the divine power realm cannot exist here, so we do not need to worry about the strength of the other party. As long as the other party does not have enough people, we can use the tactic of numbers to suppress them. Sky realm was a continent that existed in the universe. The heaven and earth rules were very unique. It did not seem to be formed naturally, but it was created by a great power. Originally, the suppression of the divine power realm was not so serious. It seemed that after a tragic war in the ancient times, the power of the world was triggered, and the suppression of the creature's strength became more severe. Now, cultivators higher than the realm could not survive in the sky. But of the world, of the divine power realm, could not. Realm. Since divine realm cultivators could not break through to treasure refining realm in the cloud realm, divine realm cultivators had been the strongest existence in the cloud realm since ancient times. This was unfair to the creatures living in the cloud realm. If they could not leave the cloud realm, they would not be able to pry into higher cultivation realms. However, if one were to think about it from another perspective, perhaps this was also a great fortune. No matter how strong the outsiders were, they would not be able to sweep through the creatures of the cloud realm and have the power to fight the aliens. Taking 10,000 steps back, even if we can't resist the alien invasion, we can give up the sky realm and move back to Yanhuang Star. This is also the last resort. Gu Shilai said that he had made a series of preparations. It was a foolproof plan. Whether it would succeed or not depended on fate. Leader Gu, what do you need us to do? The kings looked at Gu Shilai with serious expressions. Unite all the friends. If the aliens really invade the sky realm, it will not only be a matter of us humans. It will be a matter of the myriad monster mountain and the countless races in the endless sea. Gu Shilai's eyes were cold. Once the aliens come, they can't stay out of it. We must let them join the war. He needed many monarchs to personally go to the cloud realm and act as lobbyists to unite the countless races. Don't worry. Leave it to us. The group of monarchs all nodded. They knew that humans alone would not be able to resist this huge disaster, so they had to unite all the powers that could be united. Everyone. Gu Shilai looked at them. In the Great Destruction era, humans were weak. In front of the tyrannical monsters, they could not fight back. They were almost wiped out. In that era, the people of planet Yanhuang were not wiped out. This time, we will not be wiped out. If the aliens dare to cross the line, we will not let them go easily. His body was filled with a terrifying killing intent, causing people to be terrified. Yes. The human kings clenched their fists. For 1,000 years, they had encountered all kinds of storms. They had faced the biggest crisis and survived. This time would not be an exception. Even if they were to die, they would bite off a piece of the enemy's flesh. The next day, Xia Ping and the others came to the deepest part of the Yanhuang base under the guidance of the marshal. One of the entrances to the path of the Demon King was in the base. This is one of the entrances to the path of the Demon King. The marshal said, pointing to a dark hole in front of them. It was unfathomably deep, like a black hole. There was a whirlpool spinning inside, and it was impossible to see what was inside. Many grandmasters were nervous. After all, this was a road of trial with 9 out of 10 chances of survival. If they could not reach the king realm, they would die inside. I'll tell you the truth. The marshal said in a low voice, we know very little about this trial. We don't know what the trial is about. We don't even know how to get out after entering. This is a road of 9 out of 10 chances of survival. If anyone wants to give up, you can decide now. This is not a forced decision. Once you enter, you will never be able to come out again. I hope everyone will be careful. He said the risks here. Don't worry, we already know this. There is no need to waste your breath. Those who can reach the Grandmaster level have long put life and death aside. For us, there is nothing more important than becoming a king. If you can't become a king, you'd rather die. One of the old Grandmasters said resolutely. For these old men who were stuck at the peak of the 9th level of the Grandmaster realm, if they did not become a king, they would die. Their lifespan would be exhausted, and there would be no more hope. Well, since you all know, I won't waste any more time. Go in. The marshal waved his hand. Whoosh! Whoosh! The group of Grandmasters did not hesitate and walked in one by one. The legendary humans are indeed top-class food. Devouring one can greatly increase one's power. These are all spiritual herbs. Capture them alive, kill them, and refine them. Many black demonic trees' eyes glowed with bloody light, and they howled, spreading for miles. As if hearing this howl, countless demonic trees in the depths of the forest started to shake. The ground shook as if there was a super earthquake with a magnitude of 7 or 8. The human masters present immediately knew that these black demonic trees were gathering companions. Just these black demonic trees alone could cause great trouble. If their numbers kept increasing, they would definitely die. They didn't expect to encounter such a crisis as soon as they stepped into this trial space. Go to hell. A black demonic tree growled. It actually stared at Xia Ping, who was in front of it. According to its perception, this human was the weakest among the group. As the saying goes, to pinch a persimmon is to pinch the soft one. These black demonic trees were the same. They wanted to kill the weak human in the first attack, and then slowly encircled the stronger human. You're courting death. Chapter 943. Xia Ping made his move immediately. He had no intention of showing mercy to the black tree demon that was trying to kill him. Superior king-level martial arts technique, clapless palm. He struck out with his palm soundlessly. Even the air did not fluctuate at all. The black tree demon did not feel any danger. It still treated Xia Ping as a soft persimmon that it could crush at will. However, in the next second, the palm landed on the black tree demon and a terrifying force exploded. Dong! The black tree demon's eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. The terrifying destructive force vibrated crazily in its body. Even the Sword Dao Grandmaster's all-out attack could not break its roots. Now, under Xia Ping's palm, it broke inch by inch, exploding into countless wood shavings. Ah! The black tree demon let out a shrill scream. Its entire body split into countless pieces, and a large amount of black liquid sprayed on the ground. With a sizzling sound, the black liquid corroded the ground, turning all the weeds growing on the ground into nothingness. Damn it, this human dares to kill my people. Let's go together and kill him. I want to eat him and swallow his flesh. Previously, these black tree demon had easily killed a human grandmaster. They thought that all humans were so weak, like sheep that could only be killed. However, now, they saw a human with a very weak aura suddenly attack and instantly kill one of their companions. They did not even have the strength to fight back. Instantly, they were enraged and almost lost their minds. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. In the blink of an eye, 7 or 8 black demonic trees attacked, covering the sky and covering the earth. From east, west, south, north, and south, they surrounded Xia Ping tightly, not giving Xia Ping any chance to escape. At the same time, each black tree demon waved hundreds of terrifying roots like a group of demons dancing. Just one black tree demon was already so terrifying. Now that 7 or 8 tree demon had appeared, the threat simply increased exponentially. Thousands of spear-like roots shot out. Any human grandmaster would probably not be able to withstand it and would definitely die. This kid is finished. The surrounding human grandmasters felt that it was a pity. This famous genius was going to die just after entering the trial space. It was such a pity. But now, they couldn't even take care of themselves and couldn't lend a helping hand. Unmovable Buddha palms profound meaning, Buddha's radiance illumination. At this moment, Xia Ping was unfazed. He circulated the pure yang immortal incantation, causing his earth energy to tremble as he unleashed a king-class fist technique toward the group of demonic trees. This punch was an area of effect fist technique. With a single punch, hundreds and thousands of fist prints seemed to appear in the void. Chapter 944. They're running away. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. Although he was already mentally prepared that this group of masters would not work together, he did not expect them to choose to run away together at this time, abandoning them without the slightest intention of helping. This group of bastards. The three old masters' expressions were very ugly. They were instantly infuriated by this group of human masters who took the opportunity to escape. Even though they knew that some of them liked to watch others die, they did not expect that they would run away without even daring to fight. This kind of courage was even smaller than that of a mouse. It would be stupid to help you. Wu Quan and Lu Shan sneered, not caring at all about the anger of the three old masters. They could clearly see the current situation, which was that the human masters were at an absolute disadvantage. This was because this was the territory of the Black Tree Demons, and there was a steady stream of troops coming from afar. Even if they killed dozens of Black Tree Demons in a short time, they would be trapped in the mud of war. At that time, who knew how many masters would be killed or injured before they could escape with their lives? They did not come to this trial space to die, but to search for opportunities. Each of them had their own thoughts, and it was impossible for them to sacrifice their lives for others. Therefore, when they saw that someone was actually entangling this group of Black Tree Demons, creating an opportunity for them to escape, they did not have any reason to stay, and each of them slipped away. Xia Ping, this is divine punishment, divine punishment. Just die obediently under the siege of this group of Black Tree Demons. En Haodan's heart was filled with incomparable joy. As for this bastard who had once humiliated him, he could not wait to see him suffer 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Therefore, seeing that Xia Ping was surrounded, he would definitely not help. Instead, he would curse fiercely, letting this bastard die under the siege of countless Black Tree Demons. In just a few breaths' time, the group of human masters disappeared completely, leaving only Xia Ping and the 3 old masters to fight this group of Black Tree Demons alone. What should we do? Did this group of humans escape? Ignore these cowardly people, kill this human who can control fire. He can actually control fire that can harm our Blackwood tribe. This human really deserves to die, we definitely can't let him live. Yes, other humans don't matter, but this human must die. Many Black Tree Demons were full of murderous intent. They did not care about the other humans who were escaping, but specifically targeted Xia Ping. All of them attacked with murderous intent. Damn it! The 3 old Grand Masters immediately felt the majestic pressure of dozens of black demonic trees. Each black demonic tree had at least the strength of the Supreme Master 7th Heaven or above. Furthermore, there were too many enemies. 2 fists were no match for 4 hands. Bang bang bang. The tree branches were like sharp arrows and long spears, piercing through everything and bombarding the 3 grandmasters. In an instant, they were heavily injured and couldn't help but cough up blood. This won't do. There are too many of these black demonic trees. I can't kill them all. Little friend Xia, run away. With us 3 old bones here, you should be able to stall for some time. You are still young, and you have the strength to become an invincible king. You should not die here. The 3 old grandmasters were brimming with killing intent as they stood in front of Xia Ping, trying to buy him some time to escape. There's no need, senior. I can kill these black demonic trees like killing pigs and dogs. A cold light flashed in Xia Ping's eyes, and his killing intent soared. He grabbed at the air, and a divine sword immediately appeared in his hand. This was a precious weapon obtained from the celestial demon battlefield, the flaming dragon divine sword. The moment this treasured sword appeared, a fiery dragon seemed to rise from the void, emitting endless heat. It was like a sun, spanning across the void. With Xia Ping's body as the center, a flaming aura of several miles immediately erupted, and the surrounding temperature instantly rose by hundreds or even thousands of degrees. Kill! Xia Ping held the flaming dragon divine sword and operated the pure yang immortal incantation. The majestic flame gang qi in his body was like an ocean, crazily surging into the flaming dragon divine sword. With a precious fire weapon like the flaming dragon divine sword, coupled with Xia Ping's pure yang immortal incantation, the essence of the sun, and other fire energy, the power was increased by more than 10 times. With a slash of the sword, hundreds of flaming dragons suddenly appeared in mid-air, condensed into a solid substance, roared in the void, and pounced toward the black demonic trees, boiling with killing intent. Bang bang bang! These flaming dragons pounced on the black demonic trees, opened their fangs, and bit down. In an instant, the black demonic trees' branches were bitten to pieces, making cracking sounds. These flames even burned crazily on the black demonic trees, and in just a few breaths, they turned into huge torches, the flames soaring into the sky. No, no, no! The black demonic trees let out shrill screams, rolling on the ground, constantly struggling, trying to use mud or water to extinguish the fire, but to no avail. This was like a flame burning on top of oil. This method not only failed to extinguish the flames, but also made the flames more intense, seeping into every part of their bodies. The most terrifying thing was that these black demonic trees were too densely packed, and the flames burned like a forest fire, spreading one after another. This was simply a one-sided massacre. From a distance, it looked like a forest fire had broken out. Hundreds of trees were burning, and people within 100 miles could clearly see the flames soaring into the sky. The ground was also burned by the flames, turning into a pile of black charcoal. Too fierce. Where did he get this precious fire weapon? This is simply heaven-defying. Are all the young people these days so incredible? The 3 old grandmasters were all dumbfounded. Previously, when they were being chased by hundreds of black demonic trees, they were in a precarious situation, and there was almost no chance of survival. They had planned to sacrifice themselves to buy some time for Xia Ping to escape. They had the grief and indignation of facing death with equanimity, but they did not expect the situation to take a turn for the worse, and there was no need to escape at all. Xia Ping, alone with his sword, was like a god of fire descending, burning the world. These black demonic trees that looked incomparably ferocious and evil were killed one by one, burned, and turned into ashes. Their large numbers had instead become their disadvantage, the most fatal weakness. Senior, run, quickly. After killing a group of black demonic trees, Xia Ping called out to the 3 old grandmasters, and they quickly fled. That was because this move had used up almost all of his stellar energy. Behind them, there were still countless black demonic trees attacking. If they continued to stay in this place, they would probably be drowned in the black demonic trees' attacks. He would also die from exhausting his stellar chi. Chapter 945. 2 hours later, Xia Ping and the 3 old grandmasters ran wildly and finally got rid of the pursuit of the black demonic trees. They came to a secret cave in the forest, which was a place for a short rest. He also learned the names of the 3 Grand Masters. Lu Qi, the Xingyi Grand Master, Guotsuni, and Li Yun, the military boxing Grand Master. They were all old monsters who had lived for more than 200 years. However, because of their limited qualifications, they had been stuck at the peak of the supreme power realm and had not broken through. Therefore, they entered this trial space in order to find the opportunity to break through. Thank you for your help. I'm grateful. Xia Ping cupped his hands and said. Guotsuni, the Tai Chi Grand Master, waved his hand and said, "It's not a help. It's just a hindrance. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid the three of us would have died here. Indeed, after living for more than 200 years, this is all I can do. Lu Qi, the Xingyi Grand Master, sighed. Li Yun, the military boxing Grand Master, was silent. Obviously, he was also a little unwilling. The previous scene had brought great excitement to them. The three old men, who were more than 600 years old, were actually not as good as a young man. The gap was too big. Seniors, there is no need to belittle yourself. As the saying goes, age does not determine one's ambition. If you can be promoted to the king realm this time, your lifespan will be greatly increased. At that time, 200 years will just be the beginning. Xia Ping said carelessly, of course, if you haven't been promoted to the king realm at more than 200 years old, your qualifications are indeed a little poor. I can understand that you are discouraged. But you don't have to compare yourself with me. In any case, I am a once-in-a-thousand-years genius. If you compare yourself with me, it's like showing off in front of Confucius or showing off in front of Guan Yu. You are a little overconfident. He stood with his hands behind his back, showing an appearance of being the only one seeking defeat. Bullshit. Hearing this, Guatsuni, the Tai Chi Grand Master, was so angry that his beard curled up. Don't be fooled by your young age. If you don't use a precious weapon, believe it or not, I won't be at a disadvantage if we fight. I can even defeat you with one hand. He grimaced and was very unconvinced. Xia Ping's words had aroused his fighting spirit. Is there anyone who comforts others like you? The Xingyi Grandmaster, Lu Qi, was also speechless. He knew that Xia Ping's words weren't out of discrimination or malice. He was just trying to comfort them. But why was it so awkward to say these words? It made him angry. I finally know why you have so many enemies in the world. Even I want to beat you up a little. I kind of regret saving you. The corners of the military boxing Grandmaster Li Yun's mouth twitched. Senior, it's already too late to know about this. Chapter 946. Whoosh. 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 Xia Ping and the three old grandmasters leaped around and controlled the airflow. They shuttled through the forest like supersonic airplanes and soon arrived at the battlefield. What monsters are these? Tai Chi Grandmaster Guatsuni was shocked. He immediately saw dozens of 100-meter-tall rock giants appearing on a vast plain in front of him. They were similar to ordinary giants with hands, feet, eyes, mouths, noses, and so on. However, their bodies were made of rock and were different from the demons. In fact, they were even different from humans. If they had to be categorized, in the universe, the demon race and the human race were actually considered the same race. They were considered life forms of flesh and blood and had their own bodies. However, these rock giants were not flesh and blood at all. They were a unique life form that was neither human nor demon. They would not bleed even if they were hurt. At that moment, dozens of demons appeared in front of these rock giants. These demons were in a sorry state when faced with the rock giants' attacks. They fled frantically and almost all of them were injured. They were forced into a desperate situation and were about to die. These rock giants are very strong. Li Yun, the military boxing grandmaster, narrowed his eyes. He could see that every rock giant was a true martial Dao grandmaster who had mastered exquisite martial skills. Ordinary humans had a biased view of giants. They thought that because of their large size, their movements would definitely be very slow. However, in fact, this was a huge mistake. It was like comparing humans and ants. To ants, humans were more than 1,000,000 times larger than themselves, but were humans very slow? By the same logic, these 100-meter-tall rock giants moved incredibly fast like humans. They were extremely flexible, fast, and agile. They had also mastered extremely powerful martial skills. One could imagine that no matter how powerful these demon geniuses were, they would still be beaten into a sorry state when faced with such powerful rock giants. They could only flee in all directions. I've met someone familiar. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and probed with his mental strength. He immediately sensed the identities of the dozens of demons. Among them were Tu Linglong, the Crow of Misfortune, the Metal Tiger, the Three-Eyed Giant, the Green Wan, and other demon geniuses. Apart from these demon geniuses, there were also many veteran demon grandmasters that he had never seen before. However, it was obvious that even with so many demon grandmasters gathered together, they were still being beaten back by these rock giants and were on the verge of death. Bang! A stone giant punched out. The fist that was like a small mountain struck out, bringing with it a shocking gust of wind as it smashed into the body of a Grandmaster demon. Ah! The Grandmaster monster let out a shrill scream. It was unable to withstand such a shocking force. Its entire body was smashed into pieces and turned into a mass of minced meat. Die! Several demon grandmasters went berserk as they charged at the stone giant in front of them. Terrifying astral winds formed in midair, but when they struck the stone giant, they only produced some stone chips. They failed to harm the stone giant in the slightest. Seeing this, the rock giant revealed a disdainful smile and slapped out with his palm. Immediately, 3 or 4 monster grandmasters were sent flying like flies. They had no power to resist at all. They flew backward for 5 or 6 kilometers and finally smashed into a mountain in the distance. Obviously, after experiencing such a fierce attack, these monster grandmasters could no longer survive. This won't do. This rock giant is too powerful. Its strength is many times stronger than ours. Even the toughness of its body is extremely terrifying. Our attacks can't harm this rock giant at all. How are we supposed to fight it? We're so unlucky. We were so careful, but how did we get discovered by this group of rock giants? The Crow of Misfortune, the Metal Tiger, the Three-Eyed Giant, and the other monsters all had extremely ugly expressions. They did not expect to encounter such misfortune in just a few days after entering the trial space. If this continued, they would die before they could advance to the Demon King realm. Sister Green Phoenix. Tu Linglong was very worried. She could not help but look at Green Phoenix beside her. Due to the rock giant's attack, Green Phoenix had suffered considerable damage. She had lost 50% of her strength. Don't worry. Even in such a dangerous situation, Green Phoenix still maintained absolute calmness. We are no match for these rock giants in a head-on battle. However, they are huge and can't travel through the complicated terrain. If we hide in the caves of the mountains, they won't be able to find us. She believed that they had no chance of winning a head-on battle, but there was still a chance of winning by escaping. Let's escape. That's right. If we split up, no matter how powerful those rock giants are, they won't be able to kill all of us. If we're lucky, some of us can survive. Alright, then let's part ways here. I wish you all good luck. Hearing these words, the surrounding monsters looked at each other. They could all see each other's intention to retreat. They knew that if they continued to resist stubbornly, only death would await them. It was better to split up. That way, some of them would be able to survive. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, the demons fled in all directions. Some fled to the east. Some fled to the west. Some fled to the north. Some fled to the south. As for Tu Linglong and Green Phoenix, they fled to the east. In an instant, all the monsters fled in all directions. The rock giant was caught off guard by this move. However, this action also completely enraged the rock giant. An ant wants to escape. Dream on. Attack together. Surround them from all directions. Not a single monster can escape. Kill them. One by one, the rock giants let out an earth-shattering roar. They also split up and chased after the escaping monsters, as though they would not rest until one of them was dead. They were huge and traversed hundreds of meters with a single step. Their speed was not something that ordinary monsters could compare with. In a few breaths, some of the rock giants caught up to some of the escaping monsters and immediately smacked a few of them to death. Don't look back. Run. Green Phoenix was expressionless. A pair of wings grew on its back and constantly flapped as it fled with Tu Linglong. It was like a supersonic plane that even the rock giants could not catch up to. However, when they rushed to the edge of the forest, they were given a huge fright. This was because they sensed a few tyrannical auras lying in ambush at the edge of the forest, as though they were waiting for their prey. It's over. Could it be that those detestable rock giants have ambushed us? Tu Linglong immediately felt despair. Green Phoenix was also on guard. It followed along its fist, inch by inch, and finally seeped into its lungs. Ah! The rock giant let out a mournful scream. Its entire body flew across the air and disintegrated in the air. The tyrannical spiral energy seeped into its 5 viscera and 6 bowels. Its arms and legs began to disintegrate inch by inch. The black soul fire that was originally in the depths of its pupils also fell apart because of this punch. The rock giant's body also became fragmented, and gravel flew everywhere. These gravel also fell from the sky, gathered together, and formed a small stone mountain. What? Originally, Tu Linglong thought that she was dead for sure. Being chased by a rock giant meant that she would die without a doubt. The rock giant would punch her into minced meat. But she didn't expect that this great demon king of the human race, Xia Ping, was so ferocious that he was in a complete mess. Not only did he not lose out in strength when fighting the rock giant head-on, he even used the power of his fist technique to break the other party's body. Who knew how many times stronger he was compared to before? At this moment, Xia Ping really had a trace of the aura of a peerless demon. Human, you're courting death. Seeing that one of their companions was blown up by Xia Ping's punch, the remaining rock giants were extremely ferocious. They roared, and many rock giants charged towards Xia Ping. Its hand blotted out the sky as it slapped out, as if it had sensed Xia Ping's aura and sealed off all of his movements. You want me to die? How could there be such a simple thing? Xia Ping sneered. He did not dodge at all, instead grabbing at the air and pulling out the soul-absorbing bell from his space ring. Ring under Xia Ping's all-out infusion of astral energy, the bewitching soul bell emitted tinkling sounds. It was like a death knell, spreading out in all directions. This power was soundless and formless, so no one could discover it. This spiritual wave crashed towards the rock giant in front of them. Dong! Immediately, the power of this collision was extremely terrifying. It was like a huge hammer hammering into the depths of the rock giant's soul, causing it to feel dizzy. Ah! The rock giant, who was originally majestic, had no power to resist such an attack. It held its head and rolled on the ground, howling crazily, as if it had suffered great pain. The surrounding mountains, trees, and rocks were all destroyed by the rock giant's rolling. It was as if they had been crushed into a flat land. The power was amazing. What's going on? Many rock giants were stunned. They had no idea what had happened to their companion. It had clearly not come into contact with this human, but it had fallen to the ground and howled in pain. The surrounding monsters were also stunned. No one knew better than them how terrifying the rock giant was. Its strength was unparalleled, and its defense was off the charts. No matter how they attacked it, it would be fine. This was an extremely difficult opponent to deal with. But now, it had been defeated by this human without a sound. It was too strange. That's right, a spiritual attack. This must be a spiritual attack. A strange light flashed in Qing Wan's beautiful eyes. Tu Linglong asked curiously, a spiritual attack. The rock giant is extremely powerful. Its entire body is made up of rocks. Even if a rock is broken, they can pick up the gravel on the ground and integrate it into their body to recover quickly. Physical attacks are almost useless against them. Qing Wan explained, but this doesn't mean that the incomparably powerful rock giant has no weaknesses. Their weakness is their soul. They lack a way to deal with spiritual attacks. This human found the weakness of the rock giant and targeted it. With one attack, it was immediately effective. She praised in her heart. This human was indeed extraordinary. In a short period of contact, he immediately found the weakness of the rock giant. With such battle wisdom alone, he was above countless people. Of course, even if he found the opponent's weakness, he might not be able to do it. After all, spiritual attacks were high-level martial arts skills. It could only be performed by creatures with extremely powerful soul power. Without enough talent, it was simply wishful thinking to want to shake the soul of the rock giant. Go to hell. At this moment, Xia Ping no longer had any intention of dodging. He directly rushed forward. In the eyes of others, this was simply a moth flying into the fire. He was digging his own grave. But this group of rock giant was extremely terrified. They knew that this human had mastered the power to restrain the rock giant. It was simply a piece of cake for him to deal with them. Boom! In an instant, the power of the soul-sucking bell exploded. Like waves, circles of tremors, with Xia Ping's body as the center, swept in all directions. These rock giant tried to escape, but there was no way. Even if they were extremely fast, how could they compare to the speed of the transmission of spiritual power? In an instant, the spiritual power bombarded the souls of these rock giant. Ah ah ah! Within the coverage of the spiritual power, all the rock giant let out shrill screams. It was as if their souls were ruthlessly smashed by a giant axe and could no longer be repaired. With a thud, their huge bodies fell to the ground. The cluster of soul fire in the depths of their eye sockets was also extinguished. Chapter 949. Damn it, this human has grasped the weakness of our stone giants. How is that possible? Although the soul is our weakness, it's impossible for ordinary mind attacks to shake our souls. That's right. In order to overcome this weakness, who knows how much cultivation we've put in. I can only say that this human soul is extremely powerful. Even the souls of the stone giants are far inferior. Quick, run. We can't fight to the death with this human. Otherwise, we'll all be wiped out. Return to the encampment immediately and report this to the elder. Seeing dozens of stone giants killed at the same time, their soul flames extinguished, the surviving stone giants in the distance all revealed expressions of shock and anger. They also felt the gap between them. Xia Ping, who had mastered mind attack mystic arts, was the bane of their race. If they continued fighting, they would only die a violent death. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, they made a prompt decision, turned around, and ran. Because these stone giants were too huge, they were over 100 meters tall. Once they started running, ordinary people couldn't catch up at all. In a few breaths, they had run more than 5 kilometers. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from everyone's sight. No way, the stone giants were scared off just like that. The demons who were still fleeing were all dumbfounded when they saw this. They never expected that the stone giants, who had been chasing them to the ends of the earth, would be defeated by Xia Ping and be scared shitless. For a moment, they thought they were hallucinating. Hello, everyone. Xia Ping stepped forward and greeted the demons present. Now that these stone giants have all scrammed, we can have a good talk. Talk my ass. A demon cursed. It had nothing to talk about with humans. If they didn't fight to the death when they met, it would be considered a good relationship. How could they even talk? Wasn't this nonsense? Before it could finish speaking, Xia Ping made a grabbing motion in the air, and a huge hand of gang energy condensed in midair. Just like how Buddha captured Sun Wukong, the demon was instantly caught. Bang! Immediately, the demon was smashed to the ground like a broken sack, creating a deep pit. Its skin cracked and blood flowed out of its 7 orifices. Clearly, it had been severely injured. What did you just say? My hearing isn't very good. Can you try saying it again? Xia Ping smiled as he looked at the half-dead demon at his feet. He did not seem to have any killing intent. Ai. The demon was in so much pain that he couldn't say a word. He felt as though all the nerves in his body were being bitten by ants, as though he had been subjected to unprecedented torture. When it saw Xia Ping's calm eyes, it was immediately scared to the point of pissing its pants. It was as if it was being stared at by the Grim Reaper. For a moment, it didn't dare to say anything tough, for fear of being killed by Xia Ping with a single slap. Where do you want to escape to? With a whoosh, Xia Ping's figure flashed and instantly appeared in front of a rabbit demon who was trying to sneak away. He lifted her up with one hand and made her struggle in midair. "Aw! Human Demon King, let me go. Let me go." Tu Linglong was so angry that her face turned red and she kept struggling. However, Xia Ping's earth chi instantly seeped into her body and immediately disintegrated the demonic power in her body, making her unable to exert any strength. She was extremely sad and indignant. Being carried in midair by a human was a great humiliation to the rabbit race's holy maiden. What a fast speed! Qing Wan, who was at the side, was also shocked. Tu Linglong was by her side just now, but when Xia Ping arrived, she only realized that Xia Ping had arrived. But it was already too late. Tu Linglong was immediately captured by the human. "Sister Qing Wan, save me." Tu Linglong cried for help. "Human, let her go." Qing Wan shouted and slapped over with a hand that was like white jade. It looked abnormally beautiful, but it contained a terrifying might. The entire air seemed to be blown up by this hand. Even though she had lost 50% of her combat power, with the bloodline of a divine beast, her strength and speed were far superior to ordinary demon beasts. She had an overwhelming advantage. Facing this palm, Xia Ping did not dodge. He circulated the Dark North body protection technique and immediately condensed a huge energy barrier around his body that flowed like water. Dong! The Vajra's palm slapped Xia Ping's body fiercely, causing a roaring shock. It was like the morning bell and evening drum, and the surrounding air exploded one after another. What? It didn't have any effect. Qing Wan was shocked. Even a demon at the peak of the Grand Master realm would not dare to take this peerless palm of hers casually. Once it was received, it would either be dead or injured. But now, this human was actually unscathed. It was too exaggerated. Boom! At this moment, Xia Ping punched out. His right fist blasted out and smashed on Qing Wan's flat abdomen. Immediately, Qing Wan could not withstand this tremendous force and fell to the ground, weak and powerless. Previously, she was severely injured by the rock giant, and this time, she was punched by Xia Ping. She had no strength left in her body and fainted on the spot. "Sister Qing Wan!" Tu Linglong exclaimed. She looked at Xia Ping angrily. "Damn human, how dare you hurt Sister Qing Wan? I'm not done with you." She kept struggling, trying to cause great trouble for Xia Ping. "Be quiet. If you make any more noise, I'll eat you, the barbecued kind." Xia Ping glared at Tu Linglong. Suddenly, this glare scared Tu Linglong so much that she did not dare to speak again, for fear that this human demon king would eat her and Sister Qing Wan. The surrounding demons were very angry. This human did not know how to have tender and protective feelings for the fairer sex. It was outrageous that the dignified demon saintess was treated like this. They could not wait to rush up and fight to the death with this human. But after weighing the gap between them, they did not dare to act rashly. Run! At this moment, a Grand Master Eagle Demon flapped its wings and flew high. It fled toward the sky at the speed of a supersonic plane, leaving a white trace in the sky. It was trying to escape from Xia Ping's evil rule. It could not fall into the hands of this evil human. Want to run? Xia Ping was expressionless. In an instant, he took out a precious bow, the moon shooting bow. He drew the bow and arrow, condensed the Gang Qi into an arrow, and shot it out at lightning speed. The arrow tore through the air, whistling, and locked on to the eagle demon's qi. Dong! In the next second, the eagle demon's wing was instantly hit, and its huge body flew out. A few seconds later, it was nailed to a huge mountain wall in the distance. Blood dripped from the wound. Even if it wanted to struggle, it could not escape from the arrow. Chapter 950. Feeling Xia Ping's strong murderous aura, the surrounding monsters couldn't help but shiver. They all knew that this human wasn't joking. This guy could do anything. Thinking of this, they all became extremely angry. They just got rid of the rock giant's pursuit, but now they fell into the hands of this hateful human. They really left the wolf's den and entered the tiger's den. They were extremely unlucky. They had no choice but to gather in front of Xia Ping. They didn't dare to run anymore. Human, what do you want? A monster asked in a trembling voice. If Xia Ping really wanted to kill them, he could have done it just now. But this human didn't do anything, so he must have some ulterior motives. It's very simple. Xia Ping didn't beat around the bush. He said straightforwardly, I just came to this space, so I don't know much about this place. What is this so-called space? How can this place help people advance to the king realm? He voiced out his doubts. Hearing this, many monsters became silent. Their eyes flickered, as if they didn't want to say it. After all, this was one of the biggest secrets of the monster clan. How could they casually say it? Most importantly, if they were to divulge this secret, then wouldn't that bastard of a human come and snatch away their fortuitous encounters? This kind of thing like funding the enemy was absolutely not something that could be done. Little maid, what do you know? Xia Ping looked at Tu Linglong with a malicious expression. He felt that this girl would be the easiest to get information from. I don't know anything. Just give up. I won't tell you anything. Being looked at by Xia Ping like this, Tu Linglong was scared, but she was still very stubborn. She definitely wouldn't say anything. No matter what, she was the saintess of the Wanya Mountain. She would never betray the monster clan. Forget it. Looking at you, I know you don't know anything. It's a waste of energy to ask. Before Tu Linglong finished speaking, Xia Ping waved his hand. He thought that Tu Linglong probably didn't know anything and was just a puppet. What? Hearing this, Tu Linglong was instantly angered. Her pretty face turned red. Shameless human, what do you mean? Are you looking down on me? As the demon race's saintess, she had a high status and was revered by countless demons. However, this bastard actually looked down on her, thinking that she was just a puppet saintess. He was looking down on her too much. As the demon race's saintess, she couldn't accept it. Hey, what are you doing? Why did you pick up Sister Blue Phoenix? At first, Tu Linglong wanted to yell at Xia Ping and teach him a lesson. As a saintess, her status was quite high. She was definitely not a puppet saintess who knew nothing. But she soon discovered that Xia Ping didn't pay attention to her. Instead, he carried up Qing Wan who had fainted on the ground, looking like he wanted to lift his feet and leave. Instantly, she became anxious and stepped forward to stop him. Why are you carrying me? Of course we'll go to a remote cave and wake her up. Then we'll torture her and force out information about this trial space. Xia Ping explained his series of plans. This chick is a divine beast. I don't know how much higher her status is than a rabbit like you. She definitely knows a lot of things. Torture. Hearing these words, Tu Linglong almost went crazy. Right now, Big Sister Blue Wan was in a coma, so how was this shameless human going to torture Big Sister Blue Wan? This shameless human must have taken a fancy to Sister Qing Wan's beauty, and his lust was aroused. Thinking about Bai Ri Xian, he couldn't control his beastly nature, and wanted to find a cave nearby to solve the problem. Thinking about the pure, flawless, noble, and elegant Sister Blue Phoenix being raped by this animal human and waking up with a dead heart, Tu Linglong felt that she was going crazy. She absolutely couldn't allow such a thing to happen. When the other demons saw this situation, they immediately knew what this animal human wanted to do. However, they couldn't do anything and could only watch the demon race's saintess being bullied by this human. Some demons thought even further. If because of this matter, the demon race's saintess and this human got together and gave birth to a half-human half-demon descendant, the entire Wanya mountain would probably be shaken. Animal. Tu Linglong gritted her teeth. Her beautiful eyes were spewing fire. She simply wanted to eat Xia Ping like a meat bun. Alright, I don't want to chat with a little girl like you. Time is precious. I have to do something quickly. Xia Ping waved his hand. He didn't care about Tu Linglong's anger. He wanted to carry Blue Phoenix and run away. Stop! Tu Linglong immediately jumped over and opened her arms to block Xia Ping. I won't let you bully Sister Blue Phoenix. Don't you want to know the secret of this trial space? I can tell you everything, but you can't bully Sister Blue Phoenix. She revealed an expression of serving a tiger with her body. She had already made up her mind. Forget it. Xia Ping looked at Tu Linglong with disdain. What can a little girl like you know? You must be lying. You want to fabricate nonsense. Do you think I will fall for it? Don't use your barren brain to measure my intelligence. Do you understand? He looked down on Tu Linglong. Human, don't go too far. Tu Linglong was going crazy. What do I have to do to make you believe me? She was fuming with anger. She clearly wanted to expose the secret, but this human didn't believe her at all. He thought she was fabricating nonsense. If he really was intelligent, how could he not tell whether she was telling the truth or not? This human was clearly doing this on purpose. His goal was to bully Sister Blue Phoenix. Alright. Xia Ping raised his brows. Since you've said that, I'll be merciful and listen to what you have to say. Remember, don't make things up. Any lies will be seen through by my wise eyes. He warned Tu Linglong. Don't worry, I definitely won't lie, Tu Linglong said seriously. The surrounding demons were all going crazy. Especially the metal tiger, the crow of misfortune, the three-eyed giant, and the other demon race prodigies. How could they not see that this human was bluffing? His goal was to pry the secret of this trial space from Tu Linglong's mouth. Now, Tu Linglong had been fooled by this shameless human. The problem was, even if they knew the human's true goal, they couldn't stop him. If any of them dared to speak up, they would most likely be killed by this human. They could feel the faint killing intent from Xia Ping's body. This was an overt scheme, using force to suppress others. Chapter 951. This trial space is actually a small secret realm, Tu Linglong said. Tu Linglong said, it was created by the ancient mighty figures of our demon race. There are a total of 5 major races living in this small secret realm, and they are the Blackwood race, the Rock Giant race, the Mech race, the Drought Demon race, and the Slime race. These 5 races are not from the Cloud realm. The ancient almighty of the demon clan personally traveled through the void and went to various planets to capture them. According to you humans, they are all aliens. Xia Ping's eyes flickered. Although he knew that the creatures in this trial space were not simple, he did not expect that they were not native to the cloud realm, but from other planets. Why did the ancient almighty of the demon clan capture the 5 races and bring them to this secret realm? Xia Ping asked. If the 5 races did not have a huge secret, they would not have been targeted by the ancient almighty of the demon clan. The reason is simple. Tu Linglong said in a low voice, because the 5 races all have special abilities. They control the power of wood, earth, metal, fire, and water respectively. The 5 races represent the power of the 5 elements. Xia Ping did not speak and continued to listen to Tu Linglong. Of course, controlling the power of the 5 elements is nothing. Many monsters in the myriad monster mountain can also control it, Tu Linglong said. The problem is that they have another special ability, and that is to cultivate spirit fruits. Wherever they live, there will be extremely precious spirit fruits. They are the wood spirit fruit, earth spirit fruit, metal spirit fruit, fire spirit fruit, and water spirit fruit. Every single one of the spirit fruits on the list contains a huge amount of energy. Consuming one of them will bring great benefits. If you can gather all 5 spirit fruits and consume them at the same time, the 5 elements will merge into one and you will be able to raise your life to the king realm, no matter how weak you are. She said that the most precious secret of this trial space was the 5 spirit fruits. If you could obtain all 5 spirit fruits and consume them at the same time, you would be able to break through to the king realm and open all your acupoints. The 5 spirit fruits. The 3 human grandmasters were tempted when they heard this. The bottleneck that had troubled them for so long could be broken through by consuming a few spirit fruits. It was really unbelievable. However, this wasn't a joke. After all, the heavens and the earth were vast, and there was nothing that didn't exist. Even spirit fruits that could assist one in breaking through into the king realm definitely existed. No way, 5 elements spiritual fruit. In this countryside, there is actually a 5 elements spirit fruit? Corinne, who had been staying on Xia Ping's body, immediately cried out in alarm when he heard these words. What? Are the 5 elements spirit fruits very precious in the universe? Xia Ping's heart moved and he immediately asked. Corinne nodded his head, of course it's precious. Even Zifu realm, divine power realm cultivators are eager to get 5 elements spirit fruit. It can greatly enhance their magic power and save them several hundred years of cultivation time. Such a precious spirit fruit would be coveted even in the universe. Using it to break through to the king realm is a matter of course. However, doing this is simply a waste of God's given gifts. It represented the Blackwood race, the Rock Giant race, the Metal Machine race, the Drought Demon race, and the Slime race. Even in the universe, they were all rather tyrannical races. The spirit fruits cultivated by these races were basically hard to come by. Now, someone actually dared to capture these 5 races, lock them up in a secret realm, and specifically produce spirit fruits for them as slaves. This courage was simply terrifying. If the leaders of these 5 races came to know about this, it was estimated that even if they were separated by hundreds of millions of light years, they would personally come to kill them. They wouldn't rest until they exterminated the enemy. Remember, you must obtain these 5 elements spirit fruits. They will greatly speed up your cultivation. Corinne excitedly said, I originally thought that in such a poor and remote place, there wouldn't be any treasures. Even if I wanted to advance to a higher realm, I don't know how many years it would take. Now that you have the 5 elements spirit fruits, you will really be rich. The resources you will get will not be inferior to those disciples of big sections. He reminded Xia Ping to obtain the 5 elements spirit fruits. Where can I get these 5 elements spirit fruits? Xia Ping asked. Tu Linglong said, it's in the internal orchard of these 5 races. That place is heavily guarded and tightly guarded. It's not that easy to get in. Previously, we tried to enter the Rock Giant tribe, but we were immediately discovered by them. As a result, we were chased for dozens of kilometers and almost killed. She was very helpless. She originally thought that since the rock giant was huge and they were very small, they wouldn't be discovered by the rock giant if they quietly entered. This was the easiest kind of spirit fruit to obtain. But who would have thought that these rock giants were extremely cautious and proficient in secret techniques? Even if a fly flew past, it would be detected by them. As a result, they were miserable. If Xia Ping hadn't come to this place, it was estimated that more than half of them would have died. The 5 elements spirit fruits can only be found in the encampments of these 5 races. The 3 human grandmasters were also silent. This was the real trial of this trial space. After seeing the Blackwood race and the Rock Giant race, they knew how tyrannical these 5 races were. Wanting to enter deep into their encampments to obtain spirit fruits was as difficult as ascending to heaven. It was no wonder that these demon race prodigies entered this trial space without obtaining anything. This was also a matter of course. Then do you know how to leave this trial space? Asked Xia Ping. The eyes of the 3 human grandmasters lit up. This was the most crucial question. Even if they couldn't obtain the 5 elements spirit fruit, they could still leave this damned place safely. There's only one way. Tu Linglong stretched out a finger. That is to advance to the King realm. There's no other way. What do you mean? Lu Qi couldn't help but ask. It means exactly what it says. This space is simply a cage used to trap the 5 races and prevent them from leaving. Naturally, there's no exit. Tu Linglong said, but this is also the trial space of our demon race, so it can't possibly trap the descendants of the demon race. So, an ancient almighty has set up a rule of heaven and earth in this space. Only by advancing to the King realm and exceeding the limits of this world will one be automatically expelled and leave this trial space. Apart from that, one will either be killed by the 5 races or die of old age in this place. So that's how it is. Xia Ping came to a sudden understanding. This was why those who didn't advance to the King realm would definitely die in this trial space. If one didn't advance to the King realm, it was impossible to leave even if one wanted to. Chapter 952. Have you found the nests of the 5 major races? Xia Ping asked. Tu Linglong said helplessly, so far, we can only find the nests of the rock giants. We haven't found the nests of the other races yet. After all, we haven't had enough time. Okay. Xia Ping nodded and gave an order. Then your next job is to find the nests of these races. As the saying goes, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will always be victorious. What? Many of the monsters' faces turned green. What did this bastard human mean? He even said that their next job was to find the nests of the 5 major races. What did he think they were? Servants of this human that could be ordered around by him? What's wrong? What are you dissatisfied with? I personally saved your lives, and now I'm just asking you to do some small things. Do you think I'm wronging you? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and revealed a dangerous glint. Save my ass. The group of demons was infuriated. Although it seemed like the outcome, they did not ask the human to save them at all. Most importantly, this human definitely didn't want to save them. It was just a coincidence. Even so, they still dared to come and ask for credit. Did they have any shame? However, in the face of Xia Ping's bullying, they didn't dare to say anything. Not at all. Not at all. That's right. Anyway, finding the nests of the 5 major races is our job. This is Brother Xia's request. How could we dare to disobey? The monsters were extremely sullen. They covered their conscience and spoke. Very good. Xia Ping nodded with satisfaction. Now let's find a place to rest for the time being. He waved his hand and planned to find a temporary foothold in this mystic realm. At this moment, the big shots of the Blackwood race, Rock Giant race, Metal Machine race, Drought Demon race, and Slime race gathered together. This time, we called everyone here for no other reason than that those bastards of the monster race came again and tried to snatch our 5 elements spirit fruit. There was even an accident this time. Some humans also came, and one of them posed a huge threat to our Blackwood race. A 100-meter-tall black tree stood on the ground, its black roots piercing into the ground. A black aura permeated the surroundings, corroding the ground in a radius of tens of meters. From afar, it looked like a shadow. This was the leader of the Blackwood tribe. At this moment, his face was extremely gloomy. The death of hundreds of his tribesmen was something the Blackwood tribe couldn't bear. Leader Blackwood, what can mere humans do? Isn't it because your Blackwood tribe is too weak that you were beaten to the point of fleeing like rats, resulting in countless casualties? The one who spoke was the Drought Demon tribe's leader. Its entire body was pitch black, like a dried corpse. It wore a Taoist robe, and its surroundings were suffused with a scorching aura. The ground was immediately scorched black. This was also the result of the Drought Demon leader controlling his own power. If he used his full power, everything within a dozen miles would be scorched. It would be like a drought. The Blackwood race was also a wood-type race, so they were naturally averse to the Drought Demon race. The two races rarely interacted, and once they met, they couldn't help but oppose each other. You. The Blackwood leader's eyes revealed a trace of coldness as he stared at the Drought Demon leader. Enough, don't quarrel. The Rock Giant leader spoke. We, the Rock Giants, encountered this human not long ago. He has mastered a secret mental technique that restrains our Rock Giant race. In the end, dozens of Rock Giants were killed by that human. He can't be underestimated. Its expression was solemn as it acted as a mediator, advising the leaders of the two races. As soon as the Rock Giant leader spoke, the Blackwood leader and the Drought Demon tribe leader both coldly snorted, but they didn't continue to oppose each other. This showed the Rock Giant leader's might. Even the Rock Giant leader says so. It seems this human is no small matter. The metal robot leader spoke. Its appearance was like a skeleton, and it was completely made of metal. When it spoke, its voice resounded like metal rubbing against each other. Its eyes seemed to be flickering with lightning energy, emitting a deep blue radiance. That's right. That human must be captured and killed. Otherwise, he will spoil our plans of many years. The Blackwood leader's killing intent soared. I suggest that the 5 major races send out experts to conduct a carpet search until that human is completely annihilated. It wanted to use the power of the 5 major races to deal with that hateful human together. The 5 major races send out experts. Aren't you thinking too highly of that human? The Drought Demon tribe leader still felt that this was making a mountain out of a molehill. No, it's not making a mountain out of a molehill at all. Even a lion will use its full strength to capture a rabbit. The Rock Giant leader spoke in a deep voice. My Rock Giant race can send out 1,000 elite soldiers. It supported the Blackwood leader's request. My metal robot race can also send out 1,000 elite soldiers. The metal robot leader spoke calmly. It was very simple and direct, just like a robot. If it agreed, it agreed. If it rejected, it rejected. It definitely wouldn't be ambiguous. Slime leader, what do you think? The Rock Giant leader looked at the slime leader in front of it. This slime leader didn't have eyes, mouth, or ears. It was just a blob of green liquid about the size of a basketball. This slime leader looked weak, but these leaders all knew that this slime leader was the most terrifying creature. Once touched by a slime, it would instantly envelop the enemy's body, and within a few breaths, the enemy would be completely corroded. Moreover, it was in a liquid state. Normal physical attacks had almost no effect on it. I have no objections. I agree with everyone's opinion. The slime leader spoke. However, it didn't speak. Instead, it transmitted its voice telepathically into everyone's mind. One couldn't hear any emotions from its voice at all. What about the Drought Demon Tribe leader? The rock giant leader looked at the Drought Demon Tribe leader. Since even the slime leader has agreed, then there's no point in me refusing. The Drought Demon Tribe leader snorted coldly. It didn't refuse anymore. After all, the 4 leaders had agreed to this. Even if it stubbornly resisted, it would be meaningless. And most importantly, if that human really had such a threatening ability, then eradicating him now might not be a bad thing. That's good. The Blackwood leader said excitedly, there's no time to lose. I suggest starting tomorrow. We definitely can't give that hateful human a chance to breathe. Chapter 953. Late at night. In a secluded cave. This cave was extremely large, with many twists and turns. There were also many small caves in it. Many monsters chose a small cave at random to rest in. Tu Linglong also chose a small cave to take care of the unconscious Cyan Luan. At this time, Xia Ping was also at the entrance of the deepest cave, which was blocked with rocks to avoid being disturbed by others. At this moment, he sat cross-legged on the ground and ran the pure yang immortal technique. The Gang Qi in his body roared and vibrated. With his body as the center, it immediately formed a huge vortex of primordial qi. It's time to break through to the 7th heaven of supreme power realm. Xia Ping clenched his fists. Seeing the power of the Blackwood clan and the Rock Giant clan, he knew that it was not so easy to get the 5 elements spirit fruit in this trial space. With his current strength, it was far from enough. He had to further improve his martial arts cultivation. Moreover, he felt that after these days of consolidation and cultivation, the bottleneck of his martial arts was getting looser and looser. More importantly, the purple blood ginseng and silver fruit he had taken before still contained a lot of medicinal power in his body. Now, after continuous refining and absorption, they were transformed into the Gang Qi in his body. The Gang Qi in his body surged like a flood without a dam, surging wildly in every meridian in his body. It was also like a dragon rioting in his body, roaring. Bang! Bang! Xia Ping felt his body tremble. One by one, his acupoints were broken by the surging Gang Qi. In just a few breaths, he had opened 5 or 6 acupoints in a row. Ah, it's not enough. I have to take a lot of spiritual liquid. Soon, Xia Ping found that the purple blood ginseng and silver fruit in the depths of his body were almost consumed and could not support him to continue to break through the remaining acupoints. But it didn't matter. From the Shark Demon King's lair, he not only got a lot of purple blood ginseng and silver fruit, but also a lot of spiritual liquid. This spiritual liquid also contained a lot of energy, which was of great benefit to a guru. Rumble Xia Ping immediately swallowed the spiritual liquid. He ran the pure yang immortal technique and quickly digested the energy of the spiritual liquid and transformed it into Gang Qi. What a rich energy! Xia Ping perked up and inwardly marveled. As expected of the spirit liquid from the Shark Demon Monarch. Anything produced by a demon monarch must be of high quality. After taking it, the spiritual liquid provided a large amount of energy to his body. It was like filling up a car with gasoline, and he could drive it to full speed in an instant. Bang bang! In the blink of an eye, Xia Ping felt that the remaining acupoints were easily broken through by the huge energy, and he was promoted to the 7th level of supreme power in an instant. This kind of breakthrough was like water flowing when the conditions were right. This is the 7th heaven of supreme power. Xia Ping felt as though he had entered a whole new realm. Every one of his insight acupoints felt as though there was a golden crow of hell residing there. This was an illusion formed from countless streams of fiery astral energy. If someone could look within themselves, they would see that the golden crows of hell seemed to have gained a trace of spirituality. Their eyes seemed to have intelligence, as if they were about to come to life. He felt that his control over his stellar energy had increased to a whole new level. With a casual grab, His stellar energy vibrated, and a flaming bird condensed above his right hand. It seemed like it was about to flap its wings and fly away. Fly. Xia Ping's spiritual force penetrated into it and seemed to be integrated with the flaming bird, making it produce a trace of spirituality. With a wave of his hand, the flaming bird flew out. With a few whooshes, the flaming bird hovered in the air with a zigzag trajectory. In an instant, it smashed toward a stone wall in the distance. With a bang, the flaming bird smashed a big hole in an instant. The flames burned, and even the rocks were burned into lava. The temperature of the cave was also rising sharply. My spiritual force has also increased. Xia Ping closed his eyes and felt that his spiritual force was also 3 times stronger than before. It continued to spread out, and the area within a radius of 20 or 30 miles was covered by his spiritual force. Within this range, no flying insect, bird, or beast could hide from his perception. He was like a god. What is this? Xia Ping felt the wonderful spread of his spiritual force. However, when he gathered all his spiritual force in his body and penetrated into every cell of his body, it finally reached his brain. He immediately discovered that in the depths of his brain, there seemed to be a purple door that had appeared out of thin air. It was engraved with many noble and ancient inscriptions, and it was mysterious and unfathomable. It lay across the void of his brain, and it was indomitable. It was obstructing him from exploring the deepest part of his brain. Previously, Xia Ping was unable to discover the existence of this purple door. It seemed that only when one's spiritual force reached a certain realm would one be qualified to discover the existence of this domain. Purple Palace, could this be the legendary Purple Palace? Xia Ping's spiritual force shook. He instinctively sensed that this might be the legendary Purple Palace. This was the most profound and mysterious domain of the human body. Once the Purple Palace was established, one would be able to condense magic power and advance to the King realm. However, establishing the Purple Palace was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Not to mention anything else, just sensing the existence of the Purple Palace was impossible for ordinary martial artists. If one could sense the existence of the Purple Palace, then it would be possible for him to break through to the King realm. I wonder if I can establish the Purple Palace now. Xia Ping thought in his heart. He let his imagination run wild. He circulated the spiritual force in his body and transformed it into a spear. He fiercely smashed it towards the purple door. Bang! This collision caused his entire body to tremble, and even his soul to tremble. It could be said that the strength of this strike was extremely terrifying. It struck the purple door to the point it droned and shook without end. However, this purple door was too hard, so even if it suffered such a terrifying attack, it wasn't damaged in the slightest. It was even to the extent that a terrifying backlash came from it. Pooh! Xia Ping felt the backlash, and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His countenance was ghastly pale as his blood sprayed all over the ground. The hot blood that sprayed onto the ground was simply like lava that sizzled and emanated strands of white smoke. This won't do. It's slightly difficult to establish the Purple Palace now. Xia Ping felt that the purple door in the depths of his brain was extremely heavy, and even with his formidable spiritual force, it was impossible for him to shake it in a short period of time. No matter what, he was only at the 7th level of the Grandmaster realm, so wanting to establish the Purple Palace now was truly looking down upon the King realm. But this is a good thing as well. Xia Ping quickly became excited. He'd obtained from Corinne that sensing the existence of the Purple Palace was already the first step into the King realm, and countless Grandmasters had fallen at this level. Chapter 954. The next morning. Only then did Qing Yuan wake up. She opened her beautiful eyes and immediately saw Tu Linglong, whose eyes were red and had not slept for the whole night. Sister Qing Yuan, that's great. You're finally awake. Tu Linglong saw Qing Wan wake up and immediately shouted in surprise. Linglong, are you alright? Where's that human? Qing Wan looked around vigilantly. At the last moment before she fainted, she remembered that she was knocked out by that hateful human. And at that time, her aura was completely suppressed by that human Xia Ping, and none of the monsters dared to resist. The situation was so critical, but what was going on now? She didn't seem to be hurt at all, and Tu Linglong also didn't seem to be abused and bullied by that hateful human. I'm fine. Tu Linglong stuttered, her eyes flickered. She didn't dare to tell Qing Wan that in order to save her, she foolishly revealed the biggest secret of the path of the Demon King and became a traitor of the demon race. How can you be fine? Did that human bully you? I'll deal with him immediately, even if I have to pay with my life. Qing Wan gritted her teeth, endured the pain in her body, and struggled to get up. No, Sister Qing Wan, it's not what you think. Seeing Qing Wan like this, Tu Linglong knew that Qing Wan must have misunderstood something. She quickly told Qing Wan the truth and stopped her from getting up, lest her injuries continue to worsen. So that's how it is. After hearing Tu Linglong's words, Qing Wan immediately heaved a sigh of relief. As long as Tu Linglong wasn't bullied by that beast of a human, everything could be salvaged. Sister Qing Wan, don't you blame me for revealing the biggest secret of this trial mystic realm? Tu Linglong was like a child who had done something wrong, lowering her head and looking very depressed. No, I don't blame you at all. Qing Wan shook her head. According to this human's intelligence, I believe that as long as he stays in this trial space for a little longer, he will eventually reveal the secret of this trial space. This can't be stopped at all. And there are many monsters participating in this trial. Not all of them are upright and plain-spoken. There will always be a few monsters who reveal the secret of the path of the Demon King in order to save their lives. Even if you didn't say it, it doesn't mean that other monsters won't say it. So, you don't have to blame yourself for this. She comforted the dejected Tu Linglong, telling her that it wasn't her fault and that she had made the best choice out of her last resort. But Tu Linglong looked at the blue Wan eagerly. Qing Wan waved her hand. No buts. In short, this matter is not your fault. At least you saved my life. Isn't that your greatest contribution this time? By the way, where is that human? She tried to change the topic, not wanting to get entangled in this matter any longer. As expected, Tu Linglong was immediately fooled. She said angrily, I don't know. Last night, he locked himself in a cave and didn't come out at all. He was very mysterious. I don't know what he's up to. Sister Blue Phoenix, you also know that this human is full of evil tricks. In the human world, he is also an existence that everyone wants to beat up. He is an existence that is hated by all. For him to not cause trouble for one night, he must be brewing some big scheme. Her impression of Xia Ping was simply extremely bad. She didn't have a good impression of him at all. She thought that he might be brewing some evil scheme just by resting peacefully for one night. The legendary great demons were like this. If they didn't scheme against people every day, they would feel uncomfortable all over. This was already a habit that was deeply rooted in their bones, and it couldn't be changed at all. Is that so? Why don't I know that I'm an existence that everyone wants to beat up in the human world? Who exactly is gossiping around you? Tell me his identity immediately, and I promise I won't beat him to death. Immediately, a voice sounded. Tu Linglong originally wanted to continue cursing that demon human, but she suddenly heard this demon-like familiar voice. She immediately jumped in fright. She turned around and immediately saw Xia Ping in front of her. Ah! Tu Linglong was immediately startled. Why are you here? Aren't you still staying in seclusion in the depths of the cave? Why are you here? Could it be that you want to attack Sister Blue Phoenix at night when I'm not prepared? Various evil scenes appeared in her little head, including Xia Ping doing all kinds of indescribable things to Sister Blue Phoenix, who was sleeping soundly without any resistance. Bang! Before she could finish speaking, Xia Ping stretched out his right hand and knocked Tu Linglong's little head forcefully. Don't change the topic. Where did you get this false information from? Tu Linglong covered her head that was almost swollen. She was in so much pain that she almost cried. This bastard human was really too ruthless. He didn't have the slightest tenderness for the fairer sex at all. Don't touch Linglong. The blue one struggled, and in the blink of an eye, she kicked towards Xia Ping. Her slender white legs streaked across the air, forming a beautiful arc that was dazzling to the eyes. Not bad. As expected of a divine beast's physique. It's only been one night, and her injuries have recovered to this extent. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and immediately sensed that the injuries on the Blue Phoenix's body were actually almost healed. She had clearly suffered extremely serious injuries before, but with the help of the healing power in her body, her injuries were almost healed in one night. This self-healing ability was far above that of countless demons. However, although he was praising her, he had no intention of showing mercy. Dong! Xia Ping gently patted with his hand, like an eagle catching a chick, and instantly grabbed the long leg of the Blue Phoenix. The tyrannical Gang Qi immediately offset the huge demonic power on the Blue Phoenix. The two collided and immediately burst out a loud sound. The sound waves vibrated, and the dust rolled. How is it possible? In just one night, your martial arts cultivation has improved again. Blue Phoenix was stunned. She had just fought with Xia Ping yesterday. Although Xia Ping was also strong at that time, he was the most terrifying one today. The Gang Qi on his body was incredibly strong, and he easily dissolved all the demonic power in her body. It was as unfathomable as the sea. This was something that Xia Ping could not compare with yesterday. Yes, I have been promoted to the 7th heaven of Supreme Power Realm. Xia Ping looked at the Blue Phoenix and said, "You're quite bold. You even dare to attack me. It seems that if I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know who the master of this place is." There was a dangerous light in his eyes. What do you want? Chapter 955. Don't tell me you don't know what I want to do. Xia Ping sneered and looked Qing Wan up and down. The look in his eyes became more and more dangerous. It's over, this time it's completely over. This is clearly going to be fucked. Tu Linglong's face turned pale. She could completely see through this shameless human's evil thoughts. Because of her obstruction yesterday, this beast's beastly nature was suppressed for an entire night. However, a beast was still a beast. How could he be suppressed for a lifetime? Perhaps enduring for one night was this shameless human's limit. Don't act recklessly. I'm the Saintess of the 1,000 Goblin Mountain. If you dare to do anything to me, the 1,000 Goblin Mountain will never let you go. Qing Wan pretended to be fierce. She grabbed onto the last straw and hoped that Xia Ping wouldn't act rashly. Otherwise, it would definitely create a huge rift between the human and the Yao race. It's none of my business. If you have the guts, ask those Yao kings to bite me. Xia Ping was very disdainful. Bastard human. Qing Wan now understood why Sister Linglong hated this human so much. This bastard human was extremely daring and didn't care about the consequences when he did things. Obviously, he also wouldn't care about her identity as the Saintess of the 1,000 Goblin Mountain. If he really had some considerations, this brat wouldn't have dared to capture the descendants of the Yao kings and even auction them on the spot. This human was simply a lawless person. Now, she actually fell into this human's hands. This was simply 8 lifetimes of bad luck. Demon human, didn't you promise me that as long as I told you the secret of the Yao King's path, you wouldn't bully Sister Qing Wan? Tu Linglong glared at Xia Ping angrily, thinking that this human didn't keep his promise. I did, but seeing your arrogant attitudes, I decided to temporarily change my mind. Xia Ping revealed a look as if it was all their fault. Since you angered me, you must pay the price. This is the first precious life principle that I'll teach you too. I hope you can cherish it. And little maid, don't even think about escaping this time. What? Tu Linglong's pretty face turned pale. What did this human mean? She couldn't even think about escaping. Could it be that this human thought that Sister Qing Wan alone couldn't satisfy him and he already wanted to lay his hands on her, a virgin? This time, he wanted to kill two birds with one stone. Did he want the two of them to serve one man? Thinking of this, she spat on the ground. This lust human was shameless, thinking of such dirty and shameless things all day long. He didn't know how to do proper things. Sooner or later, this bastard would die on a woman's belly. Evidently, Qing Wan had the same thoughts. Her beautiful eyes were filled with fury. Once this bastard human dared to harm her and her sister Linglong, even if she had to pay a huge price, she would make this human suffer. She would let him clearly understand that it was not so easy to take advantage of the demon race's holy maiden. Alright, I won't waste any more words with you. Let's begin. Xia Ping waved his hand, completely ignoring the furious gazes of the two saintesses, Tu Linglong and Qing Wan, and immediately attacked. First, he left the cave and took out a parcel. There were 2 sets of maid costumes inside. As for these 2 sets of maid outfits, he had inadvertently placed them in his space ring. They had not been of much use to him before, so he had forgotten about them. Now was the right time to take them out and teach the 2 saintesses a profound lesson. With a few claps, Xia Ping forced Tu Linglong and Qing Wan to change into the maid costumes. Suddenly, the temperament of the 2 changed greatly. From saintesses, they became cute little maidservants and mature and charming housekeepers. In particular, the 2 saintesses' figures were very hot. Wearing extremely close-fitting maid costumes, they could even better set off their figures. Seeing this, the male animals were dumbfounded, and their hormones increased sharply. What do you want to do to us? Tu Linglong and Qing Wan were going crazy. Their pretty faces were flushed, and they were at a loss. Wearing such clothes was really extremely shameful. This was clearly a set of clothes created by a shameless male human for his own pleasure. From head to toe, there was not the slightest sense of beauty. Especially Qing Wan, she was usually noble, generous, and mature, just like an empress. Her every move was dignified and elegant, and she had accepted the etiquette of a king. When had she ever worn such shameless clothes? This had completely overturned her usual image. For her, wearing this shameful maid costume was no different from not wearing any clothes. Although Tu Linglong had also worn this set of clothes in Xia Ping's villa, now that she was wearing it again, she was reliving the humiliation from back then. This made her feel extremely ashamed, and she wanted to die from embarrassment. This is a lesson for you. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, and said indifferently, from now on, you will be obedient maids by my side. Wash clothes, fold blankets, pour tea, and pass water. You have to do everything well. Otherwise, you can imagine the consequences. He stated his requirements. Be a maid. Tu Linglong and Qing Wan were very angry. As the saintesses of the demon race, it was a basic requirement for them to not do any chores. It had always been others who served them, and they did not need to serve a man. If this was a joke, then it was a big joke. Where did this maid costume come from? Tu Linglong gritted her teeth. Xia Ping said matter-of-factly, of course it was brought in from outside. Pervert. Qing Wan instantly scolded, you came into this trial space from outside, and you didn't take anything else. You actually took 2 sets of maid costumes. What are you trying to do? She was simply crazy. She couldn't imagine it at all. One had to know how dangerous this trial space was. If you didn't become a king, you would die. The death rate was above 99%. Normal people, in order to deal with the dangers of this trial space, would bring all sorts of important resources, such as weapons, healing pills, defensive weapons, and so on. However, because people's power was limited, the things that each person could bring were extremely limited. They had to be carefully selected. But this human actually brought 2 sets of maid costumes in his bag. What kind of perverted thoughts did he have to bring these things in? What was his goal? Did he want to wear them himself, or did he already target the 2 of them? Even she couldn't think of Xia Ping's goal. Probably even the great wisdom of Wanya Mountain couldn't think of it. Why do you care what I want to do? Anyway, if you dare to resist, then don't blame me for being impolite. Xia Ping was very domineering. He didn't have any intentions of explaining at all. There had never been a maid who dared to question her master in front of his face. You. Qing Wan and Tu Linglong were very angry. This human was too domineering and unreasonable. Big Brother Xia. Previously, according to your instructions, we went to search the encampments of the 5 major races, but we found something else. What did you find? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He was very interested in this matter. We found that all 5 major races seem to have been mobilized. The Crow of Misfortune looked at Xia Ping strangely. They are searching for Brother Xia's whereabouts everywhere in this mystic realm. They seem to be planning to capture and kill you. It revealed the news that the monsters had found him. What? Tu Linglong and Qing Wan were both dumbfounded. This scoundrel had just entered this trial space not long ago, but he had actually forced the 5 major races to join forces to hunt him down. Just what did this scoundrel do to incur the wrath of the heavens? To be honest, they had only seen Xia Ping deal with the rock golem. They didn't know that he had also dealt with the Blackwood race. Furthermore, he had personally taken action and killed over 100 of them. It could be said that he had killed many members of the 2 major races. He had immediately become the most wanted criminal of the 5 major races. If they wanted to kill him, the consequences would be quite severe. They still dare to hunt me down. They're quite bold. Xia Ping clenched his fists. Where are those fellows right now? I'll immediately lead the army to exterminate them as a warning. He was brimming with killing intent. He planned to lead a group of demons to find trouble with the 5 major races and strike first to gain the upper hand. Led an army? Tu Linglong and Qing Wan were both stunned. What did that mean? Since when did all of them become this human's subordinates? Since when could they be commanded by this fellow as he pleased? Moreover, this matter was caused by this scoundrel. The 5 major races were also looking for trouble with this brat. What right did he have to shamelessly drag them down with him? He was trying to make them take the blame for him. He was too shameless. Hearing this, the faces of the Crow of Misfortune and the other demons turned green. If Xia Ping insisted, they wouldn't be able to refuse even if they wanted to. However, if they were to fight to the death with the 5 major races now, this fellow might be full of vigor and vitality, but they might be sacrificed in vain. No one would cry for them. Big Brother Xia, don't be impulsive. As the saying goes, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will always be victorious. That's right. If we act rashly, we will fall into the other party's trap. It's possible that we will be wiped out. That's right. It won't be too late to act after we find out the strength of the 5 major races. The Crow of Misfortune and the other demons hurriedly dissuaded Xia Ping from acting rashly. Otherwise, if Xia Ping really rushed forward like a fool, he would definitely implicate them. That's right. What if the other party outnumbers us? With just our strength, we will just be sending ourselves to the other party. Maybe those guys want us to deal with them and want to wait for us to come. Tu Linglong wanted to bite this bastard human who was full of fighting and killing. Didn't he know what the situation was now? This was the territory of the 5 major races. Wasn't it courting death to want to cause trouble in their territory? Xia Ping touched his chin. Well, what you said is very reasonable. Then I will temporarily spare those guys' lives. I will deal with them in the future. He thought about it and compromised. He would wait until he found out the specific situation of the 5 major races. Otherwise, it would be quite troublesome if an old king-tier monster suddenly appeared. After all, he was not with the Radiant God at the moment. Instead, he was in the villa on the giant island undergoing modifications and upgrades. He did not have the means to kill kings, so it was better to be more cautious. Of course, he was wearing the universal protective suit, so he was not very afraid of the kings of the 5 major races appearing. As long as it was not an invincible king, he had nothing to fear. It was said that this world severely suppressed the power of the 5 major races. It was extremely difficult to break through, so it was impossible for powerful beings like invincible kings to appear. Hearing this, many of the monsters heaved sighs of relief. As long as this human did not cause trouble and cause them to fall into the water, that would be for the best. However, these 5 major races are so arrogant, and I can't take this lying down. I want to personally go out and see what gives them the confidence to provoke me. Xia Ping clenched his fists. What? Previously, according to your orders, we searched the encampments of the 5 major races, but we found something else. What harvest? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He was very interested in this matter. It seems like all 5 major races have been mobilized. The Crow of Misfortune looked at Xia Ping with a strange look in its eyes. They've been searching all over this arcane realm for you, big brother Xia. It seems like they want to capture and kill you. It told them that it had been found by these monsters. What? Tu Linglong and Qing Wan were both dumbstruck. This scoundrel had only just entered this trial space not long ago, yet he had already forced the 5 major races to join forces to hunt him down. Just what had this scoundrel done to incur the wrath of the heavens? To be honest, they had only seen Xia Ping deal with the rock giant. They didn't know that he had also dealt with the Blackwood race, and that he had personally killed over 100 of them. It could be said that he had killed many members of the 2 major races, and immediately became the #1 wanted criminal of the 5 major races. If they wanted to kill him, the consequences would be quite severe. They still dare to hunt me down. They've got some guts. Xia Ping clenched his fists. Where are those fellows now? I'll immediately lead an army to annihilate them as a warning to others. He was filled with killing intent, and he planned to lead a group of monsters to find trouble with the 5 major races. He wanted to strike first and gain the upper hand. Led an army? Tu Linglong and Qing Wan were both stunned. What did that mean? Since when did all these monsters become this human's subordinates? Since when could they be ordered around by this fellow as he pleased? Moreover, this matter was caused by this scoundrel. The 5 major races were also looking for trouble with this brat. What right did he have to shamelessly drag them down with him? He was trying to make them take the blame for him. Too shameless. Hearing this, the faces of the Crow of Misfortune and the other monsters turned green. If Xia Ping insisted, they wouldn't be able to refuse even if they wanted to. However, if they were to fight to the death with the 5 major races now, this fellow might be full of vigor, but they might be sacrificed for nothing. No one would cry for them. Big brother Xia, don't be impulsive. As the saying goes, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will always be victorious. That's right. If we act rashly, we will fall into the other party's trap. It's even possible that we'll be wiped out. That's right. It won't be too late to act after we've investigated the strength of the 5 major races. The Crow of Misfortune and the other monsters hurriedly dissuaded Xia Ping from acting rashly. Otherwise, if Xia Ping really foolishly charged forward, he would definitely implicate them. That's right. What if the other party has the advantage in numbers? With just our strength, we'll just be sending ourselves to the other party. Perhaps those fellows want us to deal with them and wait for them to come. Tu Linglong really wanted to bite this bastard human who only knew how to fight and kill. Did he not know what the current situation was? This was the territory of the 5 major races. Trying to cause trouble in their territory. Wasn't that just courting death? Xia Ping rubbed his chin. Alright, you're all very reasonable. In that case, I'll spare those fellows' lives for now. I'll deal with them in the future. He thought about it and decided to compromise. He would wait until he had investigated the situation of the 5 major races first. Otherwise, it would be quite troublesome if an old king-tier monster suddenly appeared. After all, he was not with the Radiant God at the moment. Instead, he was staying in the villa on the giant island, undergoing modification and upgrading. He did not have the means to kill kings, so it was better to be more cautious. Of course, he was wearing the universal protective suit, so he was not very afraid of the kings of the 5 major races appearing. As long as it was not an invincible king, he had nothing to fear. It was said that this world severely suppressed the strength of the 5 major races. It was extremely difficult to break through, so it was impossible for an invincible king to appear. Hearing this, many of the monsters heaved sighs of relief. As long as this human did not cause trouble and cause them to fall into the water, that would be for the best. However, these 5 major races are so arrogant. I can't take this lying down. I want to personally go out and investigate. What gives these 5 races the confidence to provoke me? Xia Ping clenched his fists. What? Chapter 958. 1. Who is it? The 3 races were stunned. They had never thought that such a thing would happen. They were just chatting, but the next second, the captain of the robot squad was sent flying and was half crippled. Boom! When the dust settled, a figure appeared on the ground. A human. The Blackwood squad leader's pupils shrank as he stared at the human figure on the ground. It was none other than Xia Ping. Who the hell are you? The Hitorigami squad leader also stared at this figure. It instinctively felt that this figure was exuding an extremely dangerous aura. It was like a dormant Tyrannosaurus. Who am I? Hearing this, Xia Ping instantly laughed. Weren't you guys talking about me just now? Have you forgotten? What? The creatures of the 3 races were shocked. The Blackwood squad leader's eyes were filled with murderous intent. You're the human we're hunting. How dare you? You clearly know that we are hunting you, yet you still dare to appear in front of us. Are you really not afraid of death? It had never thought that the human, whom it had thought would take a long time to find, would appear directly in front of them. There was no need to look for him at all. However, it also felt that this human was too arrogant. Did he think that the 5 races were made of mud? He appeared in front of them casually. Did he really think that they were not fast enough to kill people? Of course I'm afraid of death. Who isn't? Xia Ping said matter-of-factly. But with your abilities, you can't kill me. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back, looking down on all living beings. He did not care about these aliens at all. Arrogant. I want to see how a puny human like you can be so arrogant in front of me. The Hitorigami squad leader was the first to be unable to stand Xia Ping's arrogant attitude. Whoosh! In an instant, its entire body erupted with a scorching aura. Its 108,000 pores all emitted red flames. Its entire body was like a huge fireball. The surrounding temperature rose rapidly. It seemed that even the air was distorted. Waves of heat rolled, and the water in the surroundings quickly evaporated into water vapor. The weeds and various plants on the ground were quickly evaporated. They quickly withered and turned into withered grass. It seemed that the area within a few miles had become extinct. Drought Demon Clan's ultimate technique, Drought Demon 5 Ultimate Palms. Hitorigami stretched out his crimson palm. In an instant, layers of palm prints appeared in the air. Each palm print was like a giant hand formed by the convergence of fire energy. Before the attack even reached the enemy, the scorching energy could already harm the enemy's internal organs. It was as if all living things within a radius of several kilometers would be completely cooked. Hell Demon Suppressing Spear. With a bang, Xia Ping instantly took out a treasured artifact, the Hell Spear. He came here to kill demons, not to chat with them. At the same time, in order to prevent these aliens from notifying their companions, he had no intention of playing with them at all. Once he attacked, he gave it his all. In the blink of an eye, a black shadow of a spear pierced out. It was as though a demonic god was wielding a spear to kill the enemy. Time seemed to have stopped at this moment. With the hell spear at the center, an aura of hell erupted out, as though the gates of hell had been summoned, and countless gods and devils were trying to rush out. What is this? The Hitorigami team leader was horrified. It realized that the extremely violent fire energy of its Hitorigami 5 ultimate palms was enough to evaporate the water in the bodies of all living things, but it seemed to have no effect on this human. It was as though this human was very happy to bathe in such violent and scorching energy, as though he was soaking in a hot spring. Moreover, the opponent's spear was like the descent of a demonic god, erupting with a terrifying aura. It was as though a mountain was pressing down on it, suppressing its soul, making it almost unable to move. Dong! The tip of the hell's spear instantly pierced through its blood-colored hand, creating a large vortex. The lava-like energy could not harm the spear at all. This was also very normal. After all, this hell's spear was a weapon that appeared in hell. It had once bathed in the lava of hell. How could a mere Hitorigami fire harm this weapon? Arg! The Hitorigami team leader let out a shrill scream. Its right hand was pierced on the spot. Intense pain spread throughout its body, as though it was being bitten by ants. What frightened it the most was that the aura of hell seeped out from the tip of the spear. It was like a strange kind of gang chi, and it instantly permeated its body. This forced it to use a large amount of energy to resist the aura of hell. This also caused it to lose more than half of its strength, and it could not unleash much of its strength. Bang! Xia Ping slapped the Hitorigami team leader with the back of his hand, immediately sending it flying hundreds of meters away. It smashed through dozens of trees, making cracking sounds, and splinters of wood flew everywhere. In the end, the Hitorigami team leader could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. It smashed into a rock, and dozens of bones in its body were broken. It was in extreme pain. How can he be so strong? The Hitorigami team leader was extremely shocked. Previously, it had looked down on this human that was being hunted. It thought that the 5 major races were making a big fuss over a minor issue. It even thought that the Blackwood race was extremely weak, and that was why they were beaten to such a state by a puny human. However, after experiencing this human's attack, it instantly felt that this human was an extremely great threat. This was a terrifying monster in human skin. If they did not get rid of this human, they would not be able to eat or sleep in peace. Let's attack together and kill it. The Blackwood team leader shouted angrily. It saw the opportunity and ordered the soldiers of the 3 major races to surround and attack Xia Ping. The soldiers of the 3 major races looked at each other and instantly attacked. They were all elites, and naturally knew how terrifying this human who had killed their team leader with a single move was. The Blackwood race was the first to attack. Dozens of elite soldiers rushed over, and tree branches were like tentacles, and also like accurate missiles. They rained down from the sky, sealing off all of Xia Ping's escape routes. It was as if thousands of missiles were launching a blanket attack on an area. Next was the machine race. Their bodies immediately changed shape, and they were like transformers. From every corner of their bodies, extremely sharp blades grew out. At this moment, they were like blade monsters. They spun crazily, and saber light flashed. Terrifying saber chi burst out, and like a storm, it swept over, wanting to mince Xia Ping into pieces. And the most violent was the Hitorigami race. Dozens of Hitorigami elites leaped around like zombies, revealing their ferocious fangs and sharp poisonous black nails. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.